And we are ready to bring you the action then, ladies and gentlemen. Inferno, our opening map, and NEMIGA in the knife round. Obviously going to want to take that CT side as the easier one. There's 2-0 potential from them if they start strong, but realistically speaking, we're going to need to see something magical from Fate after the beating they received from Ultimate Attacks.
Yeah, Fate, I've just got to get a positive start, a good mindset first of all, and they've at least had a good 20 minutes to just cool off and relax. Geo and Lollipop now at this point just trying to catch up to this last little player in blocker. One of the newer players from this Fate lineup. Like we said, Fate have got 3 new players essentially, and they've not done too badly in terms of recent results in other events, so a positive start needed here. NEMIGA, for me, still favourites.
Yeah, there's no chance Blocker's doing anything with those 2 NEMIGA players just stood there. He knows that and wants to bait them forward, but a minute is all he'll waste. He has the opportunity. He peels the first and gets the second blocker. That is some lovely play in the knife round, at least. It'll mean Fate should get that CT start that they'll be looking for. Thankfully, that could be a little bit of reprieve on their opponent's map pick, but if it starts poorly on the CT side, things could go from bad to worse here for Fate. As the sides do switch over, we just prepare for those opening game preparations. And realistically speaking, Inferno is not as significant for your AWPers as Overpass is, Louis, but regardless, Fate just weren't able to show strong AWPing strength on Overpass, and that could be a weakness here on Inferno.
No, I'd almost guarantee that with Fate, if they are attacking at any point, they're going to have to just try and avoid really peeking up Banana, where an AWP could be likely to hide behind the car angle. For me, they're going to have to be a lot more ambitious, a bit more comfortable with lots of the Angels, and maybe they've just got to be a bit more basic in terms of lots of their setups.
You can see our loot bet odds for this match at the top. NEMIGA, the heavy favourites here up against Fate. They should be expected to take this series convincingly. Fate, they just had a pure shocker on that last map. That first half was so disastrous that it could have been a more convincing defeat even if their opponent's economy of alternate attacks was stabilized in the late match. But instead, Fate, they have to defend here the B bomb site. It's NEMIGA who want to go aggressive early on. They find the opening kill as well onto Patrick, and Blocker, he can't do very much. He has to back all the way off into construction and wait for his teammates, looking for the headshots, not going through either side. Eventually finds MDS, but JL will remove him.
Well, Lollipop just ensures that Fate have some control. And looking at positive towards this positive start, it's Hearn and Mar who now have to step up and really get something going, and that's Lollipop just taking damage. At least Mar can trade them out, but still a couple more players to find, and looking for a quad kill just to close this out. Geo and Speed already have this crossfire in place and they know where he is, so it's almost impossible for this Bulgarian player to get anything done. So run for the hills and keep your armor. It's NEMIGA with pistol and 2 to stay alive.
They claim the opener on their map pick, and on the T side, it's a great start to have. You can disrupt that Fate economy nice and early on and hopefully keep it disrupted for the remainder of the half. It's a valiant effort on the retake from the likes of Mar here, but unfortunately, just not enough to get it done at the end. Can't convert that pistol round, and NEMIGA, they take the opening.
They've actually forced this up entirely around the bomb plant, which the opposing side got. So 3 AKs for NEMIGA, 2 MAC-10 and a bit of banana control wanted, and that's a nice ideal start in terms of a nade, but 8 HP Mar, you can almost say he's lucky to be able to escape off of that. And while Fate started around with 4 towards B, they now start to rotate players off, and look at this timing, it's quite unfortunate because NEMIGA, while they looked hungry to really work towards banana, in fact they also want to second guess and reconsider other options. The A site will be their next avenue of approach. And in terms of utility, 1 smoke, loads of flashes, and a Molotov to maybe execute and send players out of the A side.
It's the MAC-10s that have to go in first and close down the range of those Deagles to minimize their effectiveness. Blocker in pit can do so much work here with this MP9. If he can line the targets up, NEMIGA, they wait, and then they explode out. Blocker found, and look at that perfect entrance into the A site. Everyone looking where they are supposed to. Fate don't even get an opportunity. I don't even think they put any damage out to the NEMIGA players on the way in there. That is absolutely beautiful.
The last two players just forced essentially to hold off what they've got, a couple of pistols and armor and 2 flashes to be kept going into round number 3. And for NEMIGA, the idea that they keep all 5 alive and look to keep 2 AKs with it as well mean it's a nice, ideal opening. And fair enough, the MAC-10 might as well go hunting because it's not a massive concern if you lose to this SMG. If anything, it would give NEMIGA that positive edge to then upgrade. But MDS might have little issues. Wants to reload, but destroyed by the pistol towards New Box. There's the 2-0 start. Now Fate have to look towards surely now a full eco.
That has to be the case, realistically speaking. Nicky's P250 denies any more MAC-10 farm from the NEMIGA side in that round, but they've still got an SMG to boot. They still want the extra cash, and they know up against the hard eco that that's just a beautiful prospect to look for unarmored opponents versus an MP9. You couldn't make a better combination in all of Counter-Strike. Nicky has the only utility available for the Fate side in this round. He saved his head armor from the last, so didn't waste the investment in this particular round, but his HE finds very little damage to these NEMIGA players who are all about to storm into his bomb site, and he has just a pistol to stop them.
Any damage at this point, that's going to be the best outcome for this solo player. A little bit of armor damage taken. So Smoke's new utility now reign in. Fate don't even look hungry to really rotate off. In fact, the last 4 players towards A now start to work their way down towards middle. And while Nicky at least is forced off the angle up close, a little bit more damage, but yet to be the kill converted. And Fate from behind, they could certainly get damage done. MDS has at least made it look easy. 3 kills, box a lollipop. In short, only 1 player dies.
Absolutely. MDS doing well on the triple. Fate only afforded 1 with the Deagle before they look to their first CT gun rounds. Blocker can get armor out towards the end of things. Utility looking decent, so when all is said and done, Fate should have a good chance of winning this round. We are going to get to see now just how dangerous this NEMIGA T side really is. They have an MP9 on the bonus instead of that, or is it going to be the difference maker?
Fate, in fact, they went for the banana control. Hearn up close behind a smoke, and NEMIGA just haven't been allowed this control purely because of a Molotov. So MDS is the player to now go hunting. Maybe commits through the smoke, but 3 players towards long and 1 towards pit. I mean, this isn't going to be an easy entrance as you might want. Well, now just holds the angle as a flash. Just gets sent in towards banana. NEMIGA now have that banana control. And depending on where this first kill gets found, I feel that's where NEMIGA will now start to commit out.
They don't have bomb control. They have to run back and secure it. And in that time, MDS is taken down on a rotation from Fate over towards the B bomb site in the form of Nicky as well. But with Lollipop down, the remaining 3 players from NEMIGA have a tactical call to make. They are going to decide to target the B bomb site, but the smokes are already down to stall this offense, and more rotations are still coming through from the CT side. This could be incredibly difficult for NEMIGA to find their way in. Hans AWP scoped up on the angle, waiting for someone to walk in. Patrick gets aggressive instead, finds the kill. JO's MP9 good for 1 on the site. Han, he misses the shots. Instead, the SMG closes him down and gives the bomb site away to NEMIGA.
Well, Speed tried to lurk around through CT, and when he died, I assumed that NEMIGA might have been out of the round, but box aggressive is not what they need in terms of a response. Patrick gets that one, and now an AWP has to find 3 players relatively quickly. Fate, they now all try and chime in individually from different angles, but look to play this together. And Patrick isn't going to be peeking out yet. The AWP, and Geo just wants more than at least an arm, but so many angles more on the blue box and come off better. Molotov was at least going to be a starting point, but an easy defuse and a nice response. Fate, they finally get one on the CT end.
Jo unable to convert in the 1v3, but Fate's stack of the A-bomb site works out well in their first gun round. Now, NEMIGA, they can still afford to buy, and Jo, he had something like $8,000 still in the bank, so he's even going to be able to drop over and just make sure that this NEMIGA economy stays as flush as possible. Speed, he's got the AWP out now, full utility to complement it, and considering he's the only player on his team yet to find a kill in this map, he'll be hungry in this round.
Patrick, for now, looks to play fast with two more teammates. Fate, hungry for the banana control, but just Molotovs in both directions mean for now, neither side actually get a chance. Lollipop at least works his way in towards apartments. He's done well individually, but alone, I mean, no trade kill is available. And that pre-fire is so good. Mark dropped to half HP, and as soon as that happens, Fate get a kill over towards Banana, and that was where NEMIGA were at least looking to push forward.
Fate looking at least competent on the TT side of Inferno. Nikki going down now, though, as the aggressive banana control fades away. Lollipop lurking over towards A as well. Wants to get info on this side of the map, and he's going to call the bomb over as well. Not too confident with their efforts on B, and based on the lack of sound they're hearing over on A, it could be the better option. It's equal either way which one that they decide to go with, but the key factor is not taking too long to push A, otherwise the CT rotations are just going to come straight back through.
Well, 43 seconds. NEMIGA still have quite a bit of utility, so some more flashes and at least one more smoke are available when they push in. Box should have been flashed in, but in fact just goes for the dry peek. Hern on site misses the flashbang, and two players now look to hold this off. Lollipop in apartments caught out, in fact, but still Box converts the kill. One more to find, and Blocker can only get one more in terms of a trade, so Patrick and Blocker have to retake. In fact, Blocker, he had 3 HP. He was always a risk, and it leaves Patrick now 1 versus 3.
1 versus 3. His team's economy broken to boot. AK in hand. He pushes the apartments for this one. No sign of saving just yet, but that would be the better call. Instead, he looks to aggress. He wants to take this fight and hope that NEMIGA at least are going to exit through the apartments. He finds one on the way out for the extra economic damage, but at this point he knows the bomb is too far gone. Speed not going to risk his AWP peeking the apartment. So Patrick gets away with the gun. Fate, they could go for the gamble buy in the next, but that could seriously screw up their economy.
It's a risk they might want to take, considering NEMIGA, they'll have a full buy nonetheless, so you can respect either idea, whether to just go for the save or whether to fully commit towards this. Patrick didn't save any utility, and a pause just gives them this opportunity to really work out the best option going forward. And like you said, if Fate do force and then lose it, then for NEMIGA, that could so easily be them at least looking towards maybe a 6-1 scoreline. And on NEMIGA's map pick also, looking deadly, and have at least posed a threat in the early stages. Speed's had a quiet one, but he hasn't had to do much. His team, they together have stepped up.
Indeed. Now it's just Hahn in the server. The CT AWPer, who is yet to frag, and perhaps that is an indication of the side's inability to put the sniper rifle in his hands. The end of the timeout comes through, and Fate decide that it's just too much of a risk to gamble at this point. We can get so much available in the next round that just the minimal investment is the right tactical call here. NEMIGA, they'll want to win this one with the majority left alive, at least for to not get punished by economic damage from Fate, who in turn will be looking for their own rifles to upgrade and carry forward into the next.
I kind of assumed either Blocker or Hern was going to get boosted up onto the roof, but for now, they just have the one player boosted up close. The flashbang misses, so for Lollipop, no chance to really entry or even fake out a potential solo play up on aim. It's Fate who went for that stack and left only, in fact, a pistol in the CT position on B, so unless Nikki goes completely insane, gets lots of work done. NEMIGA could more or less be on to 5. The number of weapons taken away would be minimum. And is he actually going to back away? In fact, Nicky considered it.
He was going to rotate for the late A hit, I think, but he just hears that smoke go off in the B bomb site, and that's what draws him back in. The rest of Fate, they probably won't rotate over, even though the information come through that it's the B site, because saving at least the armor on the 3 players that have it is the primary objective, at least. They finally make their way through to CT, though, and with NEMIGA yet to plant, Fate have an opportunity on the retake.
Oh, it'll be damage. I'd love to say they've got a chance, but trade kills for now mean it is at least kept level on the Deagle spam. Really, just hopeful from Blocker's point of view. Towards CT, the other 2 on site. Patrick and Gio actually trail up. They've kept this close, but is it close enough for Patrick to now clutch out from Coffin to the bomb not for him? Gio just had the headshot angle. It got close, it got deadly, but for an eco with an AK in hands, Fate didn't do too bad. And NEMIGA only keep 2 alive. And from an economic point of view, at least now both sides get the money out.
It's an important round for Fate to try and drain that NEMIGA bank a little bit. It's still kind of scary in the opening half, but not as much as it was in the last round. That much is for sure. Han's got an AWP now once again, but so does his counterpart, and that means he's not willing to take an early mid-engagement. Might consider it slightly later into the round, though, but that AWP's still waiting in the wings for punishment. Gonna dissuade him for now, at least. The early utility dump down Banana, it just has to be committed by Fate. NEMIGA apply pressure every round, and you can see what it does. It whittles away the utility of the players on that B site. 1 smoke and 2 flashes left to defend on these 2 players.
It just seems well that whenever Fate just fall back and play safer on the site, it just doesn't work out for them. Patrick, in fact, doesn't get baited by the peak. Nicky went for a pre-fire towards CT. For now, no NEMIGA players take damage, aside from Lollipop, who was caught out on aim. And that wasn't the first time Lollipop tried to lurk and do a solo claim. But also utility now goes out. For the NEMIGA side, a kill now would be vital. For Fate, 3 players look to hold on to this.
Poor call from Nicky, pushes through the smoke and is immediately punished by Jo. Now, the rotators have already pretty much arrived here from Fate, but Patrick is the only one ready for the gunfight, and NEMIGA read it brilliantly. Jo sticks around for a couple of seconds, sprays that AK as the rest of his team sprint over to the A-bomb site. They're going to be able to get the bomb down without denial by the looks of things. It's going to be another retake needed from Fate over on the A site. Mar going down in Library. That is not the kill they wanted to lose.
Now, you've got 2 M4s. I feel for Fate, they just have to save this. It's too risky to really commit to it. If you save these weapons, that might give you something to work with going forward. Speed 4K has an AWP, and despite a couple of players being tagged up, if Fate knew how low they were, they probably could have at least considered it, but they have to go for the safer option of keeping at least what they can recover. In fact,
You're right.
Patrick's gone.
He's fallen. No rifle to be saved forward. And it's just Blocker with the M4 on side. He'll save that forward into the next round at least. But NEMIGA, they look to continue their dominance at the moment, looking very strong on their own map pick. And hopefully, they'll be able to carry that on. That's at least what they'll be hoping for.
We said that NEMIGA were really the favourites going into this map. So far, they seem to have had little issues, and the only round that Fate picked up was, if anything, just the first gun round where NEMIGA actually had a player on a bonus weapon. So NEMIGA, realistically, haven't lost too much so far. They'll have an AWP once again with this full buyout, and for Fate, it's not quite a little mids or nade stack towards middle. Boxer now just joins with that nade and sending utility further into Banana, but Fate not too phased by it. Nicky took some damage from it, but for now, NEMIGA hold and play passive in case of any silly Fate attack.
Like an unorthodox push towards the apartments, perhaps, that Lollipops, he's waiting in the wings for it, hoping someone from Fate Pushes into his crosshairs, but it won't happen. Blocker with the only rifle on the side has to rotate over towards the B bomb site. That's where the pressure is about to be applied, and soon enough, Lollipop is going to have to start making noise here on A, but it's something he's done nearly every round and will soon become a bit of a telegraphed play from him, as NEMIGA, right now, the utility keeps them away from B. They're going to switch targets yet again over towards the A bomb site. It is the right call, provided they hit it quick enough.
Blocker is going to be rotating into the M4. Might still have something to say at the close of this round. But Lollipop, I was going to say, he's always essentially been lurking in apartments in most of these rounds. They should be prepared, and Mar at least can convert that one. A slim advantage for Fate, and with the pistols, now they've got to step up, and it's that recovered AK that's at least got damage done. That's now been lost, as MDS gets a trade kill, but 3 on site comes so quickly to left through the smoke. MDS, in fact, finds Nicky, and there's still one more there. Hearn, in fact, does the damage. 8 seconds left. They've got to make it forward. They've got to commit towards us. The pre-fire,
oh, no.
But I think Fate have won it just off of time. Patrick at least gets the kill. NEMIGA, how does that fall apart so quickly?
It gets chaotic on the way into the A bomb site. They lose track of time, and the round falls apart. And ladies and gentlemen, Hellcase is the official case partner of this tournament. You won't get bored with Hellcase, and use that promo code you just saw to save more and grab what you deserve. NEMIGA losing out in that last particular round, but the economy from Fate still not ideal as Nicky drops down onto the MP5. Early banana congestion this time from the Bulgarian side. They want to fight NEMIGA head on, but the SMG just doesn't have the firepower for the engagement.
The MP5 couldn't do too much. Geo, a good trade, and Patrick and Fate knew they had to get that back to at least cement something, but it's not enough in terms of an advantage in player numbers. NEMIGA still have that advantage. There's still lots of their squad occupying and keeping watch of Banana and Middle. The one for now starts to throw back and look towards mid, and I think NEMIGA have got a perfect call here. If they do now choose to commit towards A, it's only more left to really look to step up, hiding, and for now covered by a smoke which is dissipating.
The rotations are always the right call from NEMIGA, it seems like, but they're just too slow. By the time they actually pull the trigger on the execute, Fate become aware and rotate the extra riflers in to defend the sides. 4 on 2 in the early instance, now made a 4 on 1 as Ma just has to stay alive until his allies arrive. Be taken down, but his reinforcements are removed before he is. 7-2 on the T side of Inferno. NEMIGA taking control here on it, the first map.
I'm looking at Fate's money. I'm thinking, should they, is it worth it? They're going to be committing to some form of half by some SMGs and armor have at least come out on Hearn and Blocker, but it's not perfect. You more or less now look towards these MP9s as really a source and a potential addition to helping you win this round, if that's even possible. You've still got the AKs, you've still got the AWP, and you've still got a bonus Mac 10 on Geo. Again, NEMIGA so quick to Banana, so quick to allow it, but the difference this time for Fate is they've got apartments control, and with it, I feel they can quickly hook onto the idea that this is going to be a play towards the B side.
Fate, they've always had the info. It's the gunfights where they've been lacking. Box and speed find both on the way in. Very rough one there. That second especially. Lollipop through the smoke, just denying any attempt whatsoever. Hahn removed. Blocker and Ma, what can they do? An MP9 and a pistol. They just have to save it forward. The body armor going to be needed in the next couple of rounds. NEMIGA firmly have seized the momentum here on Inferno.
Is there a chance, really, for Fate to now gain some momentum? The half, at least, will be won by the CIS squad. This is the best you could say that this core have ever been in terms of rankings and in terms of team performances. And that could have been a lineup if Blocker was allowed something else. At least one kill was found. It means this won't be a flawless and clean one that NEMIGA might have looked to have finished with. Still, the MP9 kept. I think Blocker wanted the AK, but no time to retrieve it. 8-2. 6-round gap. Fate now have a lot of work to do for Talis.
Indeed, they do. Unable to recover the AK, too dangerous of a situation, and now Fate have to go for the full buy. There's still time for them to recover this first half and make it not a total disaster, but it all really has to be predicated off of a round victory here with their bank as empty as it is. Han flashed off the opening AWP shot. Is punished by MDS's AK. He doesn't even land that shot. So devastating over towards A. Mar, able to stabilize perhaps. Apartments control gifted to Fate, but the A bomb site may be falling out of their control, and NEMIGA, they've got the bomb waiting towards Banana.
Fate, it feels like they're in such a mess. They've at least got another kill to really cement something more. Getting a second certainly means that now they've got a chance of really closing out this round against the CIS lineup. Gio and Box now, a lot of work to do to really try and get back into this, make sure it's possible, but the B site is more or less theirs. Gio might cover his teammate who actually fell through the smoke. Now he's got to find 3 more and maybe get one down as well.
Going for the spam through the smoke, but Patrick sees the tracers and replies. The rough one there for NEMIGA that, again, they make the right choice in changing targets. They're just so tentative on the way in. They want to check all their corners, and obviously there's no way that they can read that there aren't any Fate players over on that B bomb site, right? But still, there isn't anyone there. They waste the time peeking the angles. By that point, Fate have already rotated in, and it's all said and done. Now, NEMIGA, they can't have an AWP in this particular round, but neither can Fate, due to Han's punishment at the start of the last one. And at some point, NEMIGA might want to look at changing up the pace a little bit, going for a sneaky little contact play just to spice up this T side.
From their point of view, that would certainly work, but they don't seem to have many issues of late. The last round feels almost like a fluke, and that nade could be good, but in fact, no damage gets taken by anyone on this NEMIGA lineup. So for now, an advantage, but with a bit of banana control lost, Car is now a bit of a vulnerability spot. They've sent a Molotov towards at least the close choke point. Gio keeps watch as his teammates now look towards maybe an A entry. Short smoked off. And for Blocker, now the man really left to step up his game and look to maybe hold on to this. If it is a play towards long, they need to flash in. They really have to close this close angle. The smoke is there, but Molotov back, and that's perfectly timed from Fate's point of view.
He has the counter flash ready to deny the rush as well. Looks like he wants to swing out aggressively, but no one pushing straight into him means the rotations off the B side have come through slightly too early from Fate. They're going to continue with their commitment towards A by the looks of things. And finally, NEMIGA might get the opportunity to push against a weaker bomb site. Just Nicky here to defend as they all rush into him. He backs off through the smoke even and just waits for his teammates to retake.
He has to just wait for backup, wait for some sort of support. Nicky might hear where the bomb gets planted, so that would be info. Speed goes for the plant on top of the coffin, but it's not a concern as Nicky does at least line up the first. Speed, what a peak. What a confident one with it. Means he strikes the kill back to keep his side at a level playing field. But the issue is Mar still alone towards A. He's missing. And a late rotation means that could be a concern as Patrick in fact falls the Speed 4K.
Only one flash left to try and get into this B-bomb site for Fate. All 3 players want the way in. Blocker gets the first kill, but Box gets 2 in reply. Han can't even find Jo atop the boxes, and NEMIGA, given their 9th round with the correct choice to attack the B bomb site there, just one player actively defending. And for Fate, they start to look in trouble at this point. Nicky and Han struggling to come online on overpass, 2 and 3 kills apiece. And NEMIGA, well, it's beyond control at this point. It's dominance on the T side at 9-3. You see why they've picked this, and Fate, with a time match still available, they're going to try and break up the momentum.
I'm still trying to work out what caused Mar to rotate towards that B site so late, because he's been their best player, but he might have just been looking for some sort of flank or some lurking player individually because he was late. And because of that, because of their lacking player numbers, it just meant this retake was all the more difficult. Box had a great individual effort just to trade out his teammate and little to do in the response. Now you look towards the money. You look towards a mixed picture. Patrick and his side now force up. Nicky, I think, might just be onto a weaker weapon, but it's still all AKs from NEMIGA's point of view.
I think you hit the nail on the head with the Mar thing there. Lollipop, as we mentioned, had been lurking towards A so often, practically every round that Mar, he just expects there to be another NEMIGA player over, and when they actually all hit the B bomb site, it's not the result that Fate are looking for. They commit 4 to Banana early here, but the Molotovs dissuade CT aggression at least momentarily. Eventually, the players start backing off, but NEMIGA, they still want control.
Peeking box, that's good enough, but they know Patrick is still there, hiding towards sandbags. In fact, while he's flashed, he does get a kill back. NEMIGA still retain this advantage, and still Blocker, does he really commit towards this? Because that's so risky. Essentially, 4 players still down Banana, and Fate considered at least rotating the AWP back, but now alone. Now left with a lot of work to do. 4 players now aggress. And while the AWP is towards CT, Blocker, he's going to be tough and at least can step up for that first one.
Gets 1 kill in the back of the site. Molotov misses. That lets him get the second, and Hans arrived on the rotate, cleans it up. Double with the AWP. Things start poorly, but recover quickly for Fate as NEMIGA on the way in there once again. Taking too long to clear the angle. Jo doesn't peek it as the first opportunity, and then Speed whiffing the Molotov a little bit there as well. Instead of committing for the plant, ultimately the wrong decision. Fate have 4. They have the opportunity for 6.5 with NEMIGA on the eco in this one. They're looking to just rush somewhere, it has to be said, with 1 smoke, only 1 player with armor. Got to be a contact play.
Well, you're right. For their point of view, I'd feel like NEMIGA would do a little bit better if they all just grouped up, all 5, and maybe just try and rush and commit towards one of these choke points. In fact, Fate, while they started with 4 players towards the entrance of B, they do just have 2 players back off just to go back to a bit more of a standard CT default. Nicky's nade kills off Speed 4K. Peak is actually Box's advantage, so a good kill found. That could be a weapon they also recover. Now they start to group up. They've left the bomb at spawn, and NEMIGA have to go back before they commit towards this.
This read from Nicky, it's very interesting as well. Fate, you can tell they're expecting an A-site hit to come through. Nicky's just playing the long-range angle and hoping that NEMIGA don't have any smokes for the cross. They do actually have 2 available, so they'll be able to put that down, and he'll look for the spam onto Box, which won't be converted into a kill. And because only 1 player's shown themselves, NEMIGA have an opportunity to creep into the bomb site. Secondary smoke to hand, but as soon as it gets deployed, the rotates come through from Fate. Bomb should at least go down here. NEMIGA, if they can do any more than that, it's an excellent effort.
That's the bomb's dropped. Nicky actually finds that kill through the smoke, so now a bit more pressure goes on to NEMIGA, but that missed AWP shot certainly means the T-side have a chance to maybe get the bomb down. Box at least can retrieve it and plant it on the second attempt, but already this retake looks to go underway, but no kills have actually gone back towards Fate at this point. Mar finally steps up with 2, and even the third. It's a nice cleanup, but that awfully got concerning. NEMIGA at least get a bomb plant, so from an economic standpoint, they are refreshed. But their opponents have now 5 rounds.
NEMIGA with the opportunity then for double digits in the first half. The final opportunity, 4-point scoring on the T side. It's already been beautiful from them. Anything else, obviously, just a bonus here. And it's a relatively clean anti-eco from Fate, despite the fact they give the bomb site away from free. It's that kill from Nicky that stops it from being a hugely dangerous situation there. Mar cleaning up at the end with the triple opportunity to continue their streak a little bit. On the AWP, but he's not been the most effective with the sniper rifle so far here on Inferno, and NEMIGA, at least at the start of this round, want to contest Banana again.
Mar was one of the quiet ones over in that overpass lost earlier.
Ooh.
Box, well, loses to Blocker. And that was despite Fate having 2 players really crept into the corner there. And the nades could become such an important factor now. In fact, Patrick eliminated means a bit more pressure goes onto the Fate side. But because of how they approached it right from the start, they still have 2 players here, which may or may not shut down these 4 players.
Excellent game sense from Blocker. Boosts up dispatches of Jo and earns the man advantage. Fate, no, they can't rotate over towards the B-bomb site just yet. NEMIGA have quite regularly swapped their targets and changed in the late round, so they have to keep these players over here until they hear the smokes plume. The first one goes off, and MDS with the opening kill. Just one more to find. Blocker on 22 HP. If he can get one more kill, it's beautiful. Hans found it through the smoke instead, and there it is. Blocker secures it. Speed now in the 1-on-2 to secure 10 for NEMIGA.
Well, this doesn't feel impossible by any means. He's got a smoke, so he could certainly use it just to clear off C-Team. Back to smoke to give him cover, and he really wants that kill on Mar, hard and deeper towards CT, but this is where the York now must strike. Kern, in fact, flashed, but still allowed to finally go through the smoked off speed. So Fate finds 6, NEMIGA avoid 10. Given their response at the end of that half, I don't want to say that NEMIGA are going to have that easy of a second half as they now switch to the defensive end.
Not going to be perhaps as easy as they first thought, NEMIGA, as they now swap onto the defensive side of things. Fate, they get a decent bank of rounds up on their CT side, but they'll still be looking for the pistol to remain competitive in the map. And the fragging is actually balanced out. It was early heavily in favor of the trio from NEMIGA in the form of Box, MDS, and Jo, but now it's actually come back for that Fate side as well. Check the loot bet odds. NEMIGA still heavily favored to win this map, despite that recovery from Fate towards the end there. Now that they start on the CT side, NEMIGA should be all easy sailing from here.
Well, NEMIGA one pistol in this matchup, and they've got statistically and historically the better odds when it comes down to these pistol rounds. For now, and just waits with the Glock, and NEMIGA start this one off very slowly. Fate, no aggression, no fast plays wanted. 3 players towards 8, 2 are standard on beam.
Fate, where are they going to choose to attack? That is indeed the question. Blocker finds the opening kill over towards A. Box down early on. Lollipop tagged ever so low as well. And no defuse kit available currently on any CT player. The only thing currently going NEMIGA's way is time. Not too much of it left on the clock. And Speed's position can catch players out towards second mid if they're not careful. Just has to stay alive from the apartments push.
6 kills, becomes 7 for Speed, pushing out. Well, he wanted some more, but it's only Blocker who finds a trade kill, and Lollipop just can't do much towards the bike, angle, and pit. So, for Fate, they now have a chance to at least get a bomb down. They've got a 2-man advantage, and they've got MDS and Jo without any kits, now looking to play retake. And it's going to be the first kill, which really determines quite a lot going forward now. Fate, a nice, strong start. But MDS might find Patrick. And the next kill, well, with Jo falling to Blocker, means that MDS surely can't win this now. Blocker shoots him.
Yeah, just gets it done. Straight up shoots him. And the round is over. 4 kill in the pistol for Blocker. We'll give it to Fate, and they have the opportunity to tie it all up at 9-9 now. They've obviously got the upgraded weaponry as a result. They'll be looking to utilize it. And NEMIGA, do they want to go for the Force in this round? That's the question. Not too many kills found from the CT side means not too much extra cash available if they did want the buy to come forward. But likewise, if they did go for the eco here and bought up in the next, that rifle buy itself would be lacking in those grenades. So, bit of a decision to make with a buy here.
I don't think for NEMIGA they really have the best option, or have either option as a suitable option going forward. A Force will certainly make the AKs have to work out a little bit more, and there are a couple of AKs at least out. A Galil also on Hearn. Mac 10 on Nicky. Mar yet to purchase anything. And it's good to see that Fate have certainly tried to wake up and keep this close, because it's been in the past one of these maps which they don't look awfully great on. A mix of wins and losses, mainly losses. I mean, this is one of our weaker maps, at least in the past few months. NEMIGA, on their map pick, 17 wins in 24 matchup means they were always favoured. And depending on how close Fate can keep this NEMIGA, they could be liable to really falling to another defeat.
They really could. If they throw this map away, NEMIGA could be in serious trouble throughout the rest of the series. Fate looking weak on Overpass, starting now to recover here on Inferno, having a much better time of things. The call has already been made from NEMIGA. They want the Force in this upcoming round. Scouts to hand, upgraded pistols outside of that, a few smokes available, but realistically, it's going to be such a challenge to go up against the full buy from Fate when it comes through that you're expecting a tied up scoreline here, unless there can be some individual miracles from the CT side.
And miracles are certainly possible, but NEMIGA are going to be more or less forced to look towards that opening kill just to give them a little bit of an advantage, and they've just got to be aware also Fate with the AKs and rifles are certainly going to be a lot more vulnerable, so realistically these pistols have to do a bit more work than maybe intended. NEMIGA obviously certainly not expected to fall to this stage of the, at least, group stages, and the loser, just as a reminder to you, gets eliminated, goes home after this. And if that's Fate knocking out NEMIGA, that will be a really unexpected result.
Absolutely. NEMIGA, one of the stronger overall sides here in Group D. They may even be the highest individually ranked side out of anyone in their group. So to be eliminated first by Fate would certainly be a shock in this map, at least in this series even, as it's all on the line. As you mentioned, there aren't any more chances after this BO3, and after Inferno is over, Fate are taking us to Dust 2, where it's real 2-0 territory at that point. The NEMIGA win rate not up to par with the rest of the maps in their pool over there. And the individual aim from NEMIGA, while it's been good on that core three of JO, MDS, and Box, Lollipop and Speed, who were the players that we thought would turn up big time, have yet to arrive in a big way.
They've not had the impact which maybe I think lots of people would have expected them to turn up with. And I think going forward, while they can't rely on Speed and Lollipop to certainly turn up, it would more or less put pressure on MDS, Box, and Geo to do a little bit more. And from Fate's point of view, they're again in the similar boat in the sense that they've got Blocker, Patrick, and Mar all stepping up, finding kills. Hearn and Nikki, who didn't do too bad in their last game, just have a little more quieter affairs. Going forward, Nikki, he was the best in that alternate attacks defeat earlier, despite how one-sided that game ended up going. But unfortunately here, just not the score and not the KD really he's looking for. 5 kills, 13 deaths, at least within the opening 16 rounds.
Yeah, that first half, one of the more dominant performances I've ever seen on Overpass. And if you want to improve your team's play, I definitely suggest taking a look at what alternate attacks were up to. It was working beautifully. And they only lost something like 1 round in their entire first half. It was just amazing from them. Fate, perhaps, we were robbed a little bit in that match by alternate attacks' dominance, perhaps because the Germans were just so effective. We didn't really get an opportunity to see what Fate had to offer. And on Inferno against NEMIGA, it looks like quite a lot. Definitely the opportunity to tie up the scoreline on their opponent's map pick. And Blocker going absolutely crazy so far. 17 kills for him in 17 rounds played.
And he's already matched the amount of kills he got in that earlier game on Overpass. And I was just looking back towards a veto. Obviously, both sides went into this having lost a matchup on Overpass. And I was interested to realise that it was, in fact, NEMIGA who split this one up, despite Fate more or less becoming really dominated on it. So NEMIGA obviously had this mindset and this idea that because they lost to a team who they probably didn't expect to lose to and fall to so quickly that they didn't want to take the risk. They thought, right, we're going to kick out Overpass from this beta. We're going to allow Inferno to be played out. And it's a map which Fate haven't looked too good on in earlier stages. As we get this one back underway, NEMIGA still a 2-round gap, but forcing this up and a loss could certainly allow Fate to at least tie up the score.
They could worm their way straight back into this game. The Bulgarians have the opportunity on the T side. MAC-10's available. They're going to be used up front as the Vanguard, scouting for information and hopefully farming up that bonus cash on these forced players from NEMIGA. A couple of them already tagged down low up over on that B bomb site. At least speed down here over on A as well. That's the scout down. How much firepower is realistically left? MDS can get one, but can't convert onto the low HP blocker. Rotation's coming through now, but it's all on the timing here from Box. Flicks to Patrick, and the 5-7 does the work. Kills have been found on this A site, and it's a 3-on-2.
This was always a threat, really, that NEMIGA posed towards Fate. They at least get a bomb plant, but 20 HP blocker has to do so much more work there. And Lollipop at least is tagged up, but it's that higher HP player who at least comes off better. Box with a triple, and who'll even have time to defuse the bomb. That's 2 AKs saved. That's a force buy from NEMIGA, who mainly just started with pistols, who come off better. And Fate just lose the rifles.
Just mistakes, really, on the way into that A bomb site. Not even that so much as it's explosive pistol play from the site players. Lollipop gets one, and Box there with the 5-7. That's the kill that really turns things around. He's able to follow it up with the AK on this angle against Han as well, and it just activates the entire retake there. NEMIGA eventually put double digits on the board. They're now up against a force of their own coming out from their opponents, who will definitely want to be using the fast pace of the pistols to explode into this A site.
Yeah, I'd expect one of these fast plays group up together and then try and at least provide a bomb plant to not only your finances, but also your team's spirit. No bomb plants mean a lack of money and a concerning economic factor. And if your economy's gone, what can you do in terms of actual gameplay? NEMIGA, this is where they've got a chance to at least strike towards 11, give themselves a stronger round lead. And for Fate, while we expected what could have been a fast play on these upgraded pistols, they just go for the slower option. Patrick's had a little peek in towards left and right side of brackets, but for now, nothing being given up means Fate for now look more hungry and more concerned about what could be on offer towards B.
They're just happy to burn the CT utility away at this point in time. They know they're going to have to explode out and rush a site at some point, and they'd rather do it when there aren't any CT nades or Molotovs available to stop them. Now, on this A site, there is one Molly able to deal some damage. They are going to explode out, but not go through it as they look to push through construction instead. That could be an interesting play later in the round. Patrick, he gets around there, but it's Mars Grenade that does the work. Eventually, the Deagle shows up big, though, and NEMIGA, they're playing reactionary now. 3-on-4 retake in the B bomb site. And there's 2 rifles to hand.
Yeah, the 2 rifles could be impactful, but it's the pistols that still provide the work. Speed eliminated. Nicky's double more or less cemented the round in their favour, or has it? Lollipop, at least 1 kill on the exit. Fate, they were hungry, they wanted the kills, but NEMIGA have to now make the safe call, keep the AK, and just keep watching the finances, because they've lost too much really to cement a confident and comfortable buy going into that follow-up round. For Fate, a great reaction. That's 2 M4s on an AK they pick up, and they'll save and keep bomb explode on B.
Well, the follow-up force is won by Fate, but the issue now for NEMIGA is, do they continue this war of attrition? Because the CT side always loses out. If you go force for force, the economy just can't keep up, and it started off well on the defense, but Patrick, realistically, that's the play that got it all done. They don't realize until too late that a construction player is on the flank, and they ultimately get removed. NEMIGA, they have gone for the force. They want the MP9s. Lollipop has that saved AK as well. It's a tentative round indeed, though. If they lose it, they're virtually gifting a tied scoreline to their opponents.
Geo just peeks after the flashes go out. A peek and Nikki with some sort of damage, but Fate, they're more interested in what's going to be a play up towards A. Patrick, this might be the entry. And an MP9 just tries to peek and tries to contest it, but MDS needs to play the safer option. Hide on site, wait for something else. And as Fate just wait for what's going to be an early rotation from Geo and Box, NEMIGA have more or less given up the B site, and if Fate clock onto this quick enough, then Nikki might quickly understand and allow Fate to work in that direction.
It's all about the info for the CT side at the moment. Gotta guess where their push is coming from. B is the right answer. Box wants to go through the smoke. He's punished immediately by the flashes, and Jo, he nearly gets punished for spraying through the smoke as well. He'll find a little bit of additional damage, but NEMIGA, they're going to back off straight out of this round. They know that retaking the B bomb site is a very difficult task indeed, and considering they have 4 alive with body armor, just save it forward and go for another force in the next. The likelihood is that you lose here, and then you have to eco in the next anyway, so might as well have the better guns.
Yeah, and I think at this point, NEMIGA have just worked it out perfectly. That means that they'll have the full loss bonus if rounds keep falling and keep getting lost, to allow them for a full gun by going in what could be at a 10-10 or 11-10 scoreline in favour of Fate and AK saves. But NEMIGA could certainly still cause some surprise and some upset going forward. Patrick won't be affected by the bomb explosion, sorry. 9-10. Fate have certainly kept this second half a little more interesting, and NEMIGA might have to be careful that they don't cause or give themselves too many more mistakes.
Not at all. I did like the save call from the last round. Definitely a pertinent one to make. Loss bonus going to be increased this time. So if they invest precisely nothing into the round, they should be able to get a decent buy up in the next one. Fate, they're back in this game, that's for sure. Just one away from tying it all up on the T side, looking much stronger after what was that initial deficit, and they've done a great job to come back into this game, realistically speaking, especially after the beating they received on Overpass. If they could push it all the way, they'd love to do so. They've got to get through the rounds ahead first. Even if they win this, they'd have to beat back another NEMIGA full buy, and they're going to charge the B site.
Well, let's see if the MP9 on top can achieve anything. In fact, Geo's caught out, and MDS now has a bit of work to do if he really wants to make this even close towards CT, and they're trying to boost up, but they don't clear the angle. The SMGs, they've done so much, and MDS might even look for another one here. It becomes so quickly a 2-on-2. 2 AKs now have to fight off against the pistol and an MP9. The one plant should be allowed in. Blocker, some minor damage means Fate have the advantage.
5-7 and an MP9 on the retake. Not the ideal weapons, not the ideal positions, but damage could be found here. It is found, but it's by Mark. And MDS pushes out at the right time, but the range of his weapon, not good enough. He is taken out by Fate. They tie up that scoreline at 10-10. As we mentioned, was the prospect. Now NEMIGA, they can get that full buy on the board, but take a look at their utility. Certainly going to be lacking on a few players. Flash is missing. That much is for sure. And Blocker, he's really taken over this game. 21 kills for him so far, and he keeps that 1-to-1 ratio of kills to rounds played.
I think the other advantage that Fate also have to keep an eye on is they don't even have to go up against an AWP. NEMIGA, in fact, playing adventurous and very risky. They pushed 2 players down towards second mid, and you know what? It's worked out more. The MDF, in fact, 3 kills converted. Hearn, the only player left, means this round for Fate hasn't gone good. NEMIGA's adventurous play, it's been perfect.
Works out amazingly. Hearn alone. 1v4 situation. His team, they have enough money to buy up in the next. They can even drop over if they wanted to equalize economy. So he might as well go for this one and just remove as many of those CT rifles as he possibly can. Even one more at this point would be an excellent economic blow to his opponent. He won't be able to do so, unfortunately. It'll just be the 2 deaths from NEMIGA, which is important from their monetary perspective, and it's as close as it could possibly be with NEMIGA's second mid push working out beautifully thanks to MDS.
It felt always like NEMIGA had to get something like that going just to ensure that this could be close, but an individual effort isn't always going to be winning you lots of rounds. It needs to be a team play. It's got to be an overall group scenario, and NEMIGA now just change things up on the defensive end. Free up Banana, 2 over towards the close angles on short, and they're just going to push through the smoke. Fate, in fact, Blocker just doesn't get caught out by any players behind him, and that was a concern to Molotov because MDS can take advantage. It wasn't the perfect buy that NEMIGA looked for, but they've still found the kills and they found the advantage.
Blocker turns around and comes very close to finding one, but instead the grenade finds him. And it leaves his AWP. Again in a 1-on-4, it's Han getting tagged down in the apartment, trying to flee, but NEMIGA, they won't allow it. I'm not sure if they can recover that sniper either. There's a little bit of a miscommunication there, which means that if they want an AWP now, they're going to have to buy one. I don't even think they can afford it on any of their players anymore, so they're not going to have the sniper rifle, but that may not be too much of an issue against what will be the pistols for Fate in this one. They've tied it up, but NEMIGA, as soon as Fate tied up that scoreline, they came out swinging to push the advantages in their favor.
And while this round might not seem too vital, the follow-up one is going to be the one that certainly decides if Fate still have a lifeline in this event. A good flash in speed, in fact, gets 2 of them. No issues so far, and the pistols at this point looking towards middle, looking towards A for some sort of entry. In fact, what a nice 180 by speed. That's him on 3. It's Nicky and Mark looking for anything else.
Speed, clearly not a fan of pistoling players, dispatching of them very quickly in this round, and NEMIGA don't lose any to the Fate Eco. The T-side economy still not in a dream position. Patrick, if he does get an AK and armor, he's not going to have anything utility-wise to boot, so he picks up a Galil instead, and check this out from Speed. Gets tagged, lightning fast reactions. What an absolute animal. Gets it done for NEMIGA, who were just 3 rounds from taking their map pick. It looked like they do it much more convincingly at the start of the first half, and then it looked like Fate might be able to come back, but with this gun round, NEMIGA looked to put one of the last nails in the coffin.
And for now, just keeps watch of whatever is towards mid, but box. And NEMIGA, in fact, they've been allowed banana control so easily, and with this added presence means Fate, they're going to be pressured. In fact, through the door, Nicky comes off better, and that's a great kill to find. Speed, who's had a quiet game, isn't going to be allowed to make an impact instantly. Quick advantage picked up by the Fate squad. Now they need really another kill to determine something, and if NEMIGA strike back, Fate will again have to step up even stronger.
Jo flashed off banana. Can't afford to play the risky, aggressive game there because he's the entirety of the B defense for NEMIGA. They've left 3 deep defending A with Box ready to rotate from library should he need. And for the moment, it's the right call. 4 players from Fate thinking about pushing towards this bomb site, but the bomb itself back towards banana eventually will make its way here as well. And the NEMIGA rotates might just be quick enough to deal with this.
Yeah, the fact that Box is here certainly means that it could be a more cemented hold on the site if Fate now commit to it. And with that smoke towards long, Fate, they're hungry to really approach this from the short angle. 4 players there with 1 in the apartment. Box and Lollipop, they do so well to at least hold and slow down the push. But MDS on site, at least unchecked, gets traded out. And Fate now have an advantage. Jo, in fact, finds the first. Ooh. And he's just got to find a bomb on 10. What is that from Blocker?
The man, the myth, the legend for Fate. The Bulgarian player turning up big when it matters and wrestling around in his team's favor. You can see MDS waiting in the site. He tries to do the work, he secures a kill, but eventually gets found by Blocker, who even finishes off the round as well. Beautiful post-plant situation from him, but the money for Fate still not ideal. They can break NEMIGA's economy, they can try and tie the scoreline again, but they have to do it with a Mac-10 in tow.
So Fate at least convert the must-win round to keep their chances alive in this opener. Blocker joined with a Mac-10 now, just have to avoid him. That's not an ideal scenario for that Mac-10 to be left in alone, because 2 M4s are the other side of this doorway and up close. Boosted up, Lollipop can come off better from the railing.
Indeed he can. Patrick falls first and Fate are left guessing. They don't commit towards A, they simply can't get away with it. The rotations from NEMIGA, they've made their way over on towards this B bomb site at least. Box has just to shore up the defenses a little. With just 4 left on Fate, they know that 3 players from NEMIGA are likely to get at least 2 kills opening the retake potential, so they rotate to defend B instead. And it's the right call indeed. Jo finds one, Box with another, but now Box is the only one left defending. He needs his teammates to arrive as Mar wants to put the bomb down. Neither of these Ts have utility to defend this bomb site.
Well, Box doesn't actually give up his position. I wasn't sure if he was going for the pre-fire, but in fact just kept quiet. And NEMIGA do keep this advantage, but only by player numbers. Health rise, Fate do have this clear advantage, and Box just hasn't quite got the angle to ensure that Mar takes damage. Blocker, his teammate, on 1 HP, he could only get 1. And now the Seiki has to step up and go huge. 20 kills becomes 21. At least one more player tagged up. In fact, 18 HP on the AWPer. This might be winnable for Mar, but the shots don't convert for Box. Mar wins it. Fate up to 12. Now 1 round between them and NEMIGA on 13.
Oh, he does it. Mar with the clutch quad kill in total, and he holds true in the 1v3. As soon as he finds that kill on Lollipop, Box is just so low. He can't even tap the bomb from his angle, struggling to get the defuse in fully there, and just punished in the late instance. NEMIGA, they have to take an eco, and this is Fate's opportunity. They can tie it all up. They can make it 13-13 on their opponent's map pick and try and continue their T-side dominance. Box just stands in the flames, takes the damage, and has to back off. That could be a good bait for Jo, whose Zeus is in the right angle to get at least 1 kill, but they've boosted over. They spotted him out, and they should be clean here from Fate.
Mar just falls away after doing what was a individual lurk over in apartments. No one's pushed, but what is that by Nicky? I didn't expect him to get that kill on Box, but it's converted nonetheless, and that was a tag of damage onto Blocker, but it's still the AK that's going to come off better. 1 minute to go. Speed might now need to step up and make an impact if they want to win this, and with Nicky taking damage, in fact, he doesn't want to fall back anymore. Speed might get something done now.
Punished by Blocker. He is removed from the round. MDS waiting in construction for the exits. Blocker, you can see he's suspicious at least. It should be a free kill though for MDS. He can't line up the shot, gets the knife out instead, and Blocker will remain alive. His KD preserved, but on 8 HP, he has to charge out of that bomb site to make sure that he doesn't die to the post plant. You can just see Lollipop peeking around, seeing if he can tag up with a couple of bullets. He won't get it, and instead, he might get taken out at the end of the round. Here's Mar's footsteps, so will preserve his own life, but now it comes down to the wire for NEMIGA. Their economy, they can justify a full buy, but Fate are straight back in this game.
No, Fate have done what they needed to do to really keep this up close. That was so awkward, and Blocker's so lucky to really come off a winner. So both sides have weapons. NEMIGA do have 2 warps, and with supporting armor means they've got an advantage. For Fate, still Blocker on at least an SMG as a bonus, and he could have got an AK. He could have really committed that full buy, and that could be a concern, having that one player on just an SMG. So for now, Jo on the AWP spots and was prepared for the boost, and while the nade does nothing, just the pre-fire through the wall isn't going to be successful. He now falls away, and Fate now look towards B.
That's 3 shots and 3 shots connected there. 2 resulting kills, and 1 takes Nicky down to 35 through the wall. Jo putting a stop to any B shenanigans from Fate in this round. At least at the beginning. They're not dissuaded for now. They stick around in Banana and decide to wait out some more time. They have Han on the counter AWP all the way over here in second mid, praying for some NEMIGA aggression, but at some point in time, he has to know it's not going to happen, and he needs to join his team for this B hit.
Han just reflashes mid. For now, he won't spot out too much, but you're right, Fate. If they want to challenge this B site, realistically, they've got to do it all together. So now they group up, and in terms of utility, a smoke is available for CT and another one for Coffin if they choose to work with it. But this angle from Dark is certainly where Geo can come off better in an encounter. And Molotov just spotting him out, and he just misses the chance. In fact, Bocker takes him out to flames and fire, but Box stands strong. He gets 2, and Han a lot more work to do with 18 seconds.
That was Fate's way in. They had to find Box, though, and instead he gets the 3rd as well. Triple in the round. Fate can still buy. They can still make it 14-14, but NEMIGA's double AWPs, they at least stay the advance in that last one. Check this play out from Jo. Finds the kill, finds the wall bang, gets the follow-up, but then overstays his welcome in the Molotov at just 60 HP. He's too slow to react and leaves it on Blocker to clean up that round. NEMIGA 2 away from taking their map pick, but Fate have the opportunity to tie it all up still.
Again, this is another big round which Fate, if they want to find victory, now they've got a chance, but this time it's at the cost of AKs against a double AWP setup once again. And Blocker allowed an entry means, again, it's Fate with a massive early advantage. NEMIGA now have to play safe. They've at least got Banana control and Logs control in their favour. That's where Box is holding. But Fate, not even in a rush. Lots of utility already wasted from NEMIGA's point of view, and that could come back to haunt them if they're forced to play retake anywhere.
It really could. No smokes at all left on that NEMIGA side, but even a side push, but thankfully Box is in the corner. He's good for 1. Jo picks up the 2nd, but aggressed into the Molotov, buys him time, looks for the flick, but can't secure it. He wants to call his teammates for sure, but he knows the rotation is still a possibility, so he tells them to stay. Fate, they could change targets, they could expect the execution, and Speed's secondary AWP, it can put the stop here. Finds the opening kill onto Blocker. That's the primary fragger for Fate found. Nicky goes down, and so does Mark. 3 shots, 3 kills for Speed. That's the AWPer that you saw on Overpass, and it's map point to NEMIGA.
And Faye, they did so well in the second half. They pulled off some really important rounds, but Speed, the experienced player, he had a quiet one up to this point, and that's a massive time to make an impact to ensure that your opponents aren't allowed a way back into this. 15 and map point. And for Faye, not an ideal buyout is going to be there at all. They've got a good bit of utility, so if they can maybe set up towards the site, they've got a chance, but a heavy pistol buy comes out. And again, against the 2 AWPs. It's instead this time towards apartments where they look to focus their efforts.
You know why they call it the big green panic button now. As soon as NEMIGA hit it and brought out those double AWPs, they looked to have recovered this map. Fate with their last chance to stay in things here. The forced up pistols, utility to hand. It's got to be used towards the A-bomb site. It's the site with the least likelihood of you all being chewed up from one angle, which is always the risk when you work with the pistols. The pressure is immense, and now they have to execute.
Ma needs to be careful. The M4 hiding behind that smoke is a concern, but they hear him, and Ma in fact strikes off better. Speed, he's been the only player to get a kill back, and those shots out of balcony are just insane because Jo, I don't know if he can even do anything at this point. It looks like he's got a lineup, but a wall in the way and a bomb plant means Fate. They're not quite going to be allowing their opponents an easy win yet. 14 is there, and when you look at NEMIGA's money, I don't know what really can be supporting this AWP going forward, but either way, it has to be a force out.
It's the disaster from NEMIGA. They fall apart to the pistols that just charge through and land the headshots. Look at all the recovered rifles on the T side. They have everything they could ever want to force overtime in the next. Blocker, he's earned his 30 bomb already in regulation time. Herculean effort from him, but perhaps more still required he wants to help carry Fate into overtime.
And just as a reminder, also, NEMIGA side came into this with an overtime win in that best of one earlier on. So again, that's a possibility here, unless Fate somehow crumble in what's going to be a dying round for NEMIGA. Their finances aren't ideal. They've at least got an AWP and some M4s out, but Lollipop and MDS dropping down to just some SMGs. The MP9s are there, but you look towards Han back on an AWP. You look towards some AKs and M4s on the offensive Fate side, and while the smoke just saves Speed from burning to death, it might be Patrick who might fall first if he oversteps down Banana.
NEMIGA perhaps struggling to close out these maps when they have the advantage. They still have the chance to do it in regulation. Only one AWP to work with. It's not the two that they're used to. But Speed, he's shown his competence in past rounds. If he can go big towards Banana here, find that opening pick, it'd set NEMIGA up perfectly. Spots the foot of Patrick, and he's going to be baited into it, but he still lands the shot. The reply can't come through from Han. Beautiful opening kill for him. And Fate now look towards A.
Yeah, Fate now have to commit fully with quite a bit of utility still available to them. It's mainly smokes and flashes, but that's all you need to really show your presence and get your clearance on towards these sites. But for defensive players, NEMIGA, they've gone for the stack and they've made the right call entirely. Box really has to find something, because if anything, it's going to be MDS under pressure. And this might in fact just be a fake and a flank towards the CT spawn. MDS saves his teammate. Box can do little, and it's the MP9 which combines with the AWP to ensure that Mar is gone, and Han now has to work with Nicky to maybe find overtime.
Got to get into that B-bomb site. Fate's chances lie on this. The 4v2 retake for NEMIGA as soon as those flames decimate. Speed wants to go forward, but the nade, it takes Han out, and Nicky, he's all alone. His teammate gone. Speed's AWP fires the final shot of the map. It's a drawn-out affair indeed, but NEMIGA eventually close out their own map pick of Inferno, 16-14, and we look ahead to Dust 2.
Wow, Fate, credit to them for really showing up on a map which we didn't entirely think they'd have the best chance to really show up on. But NEMIGA, they were forced to all 30 rounds, which means going into our next map, there's certainly a chance that they can step up and maybe take us to that third map.
It does look incredibly likely. Fate, they put up such a hell of a fight here that they could indeed convincingly take their own map pick of Dust 2, which is up next, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll have map 2 of this series ready and waiting to go for you. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Malta Vibes, brought to you by Gaming Malta, a home of gaming excellence. It was a very close affair in that opening map of Inferno. Fate taking us the distance, but NEMIGA inevitably able to clutch out their own map pick. Now we're on Dust 2, where they have the opportunity to 2-0. My name is Protalis, and I am joined again by Louis. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good, and as much as I'd love to say this could go to potentially all three maps, potentially seeing as Mirage as our deciding map, I feel as though the stats don't quite give Fate that ideal chance. Yes, it's their map pick, but looking into the past ahead of this one, this isn't their best map. It's not perfect for them because their best maps were taken out in the veto, so a chance to maybe respond.
Indeed, and looking at the loot bet odds, NEMIGA, having gotten that victory on Inferno, are still the favourites at 1.47, but Fate with the 2.57 on this one, just reflecting the edge that they might have out here on Dust 2, as it is their map pick. And when you look at their statistics recently, round by round, they haven't done too bad, but a string of 3 losses recently to Dignitas, Skade, and Hellraisers on the map could show some potential weaknesses here for Fate.
Yeah, NEMIGA are obviously going to be coming into this with that momentum and with that confidence just about, while Fate kept Inferno close. It was NEMIGA who at least took it over the line, and early on already, 23 HP Box hadn't even left spawn before he took any damage, so Lollipop goes for a bit of a fast play with MDS. The two players head in that direction while Patrick, for now, looks towards under. It could be a split towards the A site given this lower tunnel and long presence. Door's also a possibility. Mar just flashed off, but NEMIGA don't quite take advantage of it.
They don't. It's Patrick instead who finds the opener in this pistol for Fate to get the first kill. Patrick will even get the second, but Lollipop finds him in the end, trades it back to a 3-on-3 situation, and Fate holding at the moment from short. Certainly trying to deny that bomb from arriving, but NEMIGA eventually get in the sight.
Oh, a retake is possible. A kit is there for Fate, who already have Patrick on 2 kills and still alive. Means they've certainly got lots of chances to keep this going, and Patrick's even got a third on his low HP. Hearn also falling means it's going to be down to Lollipop to really now try and make an impact, and despite some early damage, the 10 HP of Patrick and his teammates do enough to close it out. Time not a concern, and an ideal start for the Bulgarian squad.
Indeed, they secure the opening pistol and the early advantages for themselves as well. Opening round found, at least for Fate. That bodes well for the start of their own map pick, at least with a 1-0 lead. And NEMIGA on that T side, it's definitely the stronger side for them to start on. It's where they'll be wanting to begin, but a strong start definitely going to be important.
Well, Box on a upgraded pistol along with most of his teammates. There's Patrick who does at least find the opener. NEMIGA, for now, no issues quite yet. Box up close. Whoa, actually beats Blocker out, so an ideal kill goes the way of the Fate side, but a trade more or less down towards B. And Patrick could double up if MDS goes a little aggressive, but for now, it's a NEMIGA advantage.
It is indeed, as they try and hold on the map at the moment. Struggling to get much done. Box moving over towards A short. Hunting around. They want to deploy the utility towards this A bomb site. That much is for certain. If Fate can deny on that CT side, they'll certainly be looking to get it done. Mar will put one down, but the bomb has now been planted.
Yeah, a bomb plant over on the A site means a retake, which certainly NEMIGA can try and contest, and that scout by speed actually does damage. Sorry, Patrick find Speed in response, and MDS just has to do so much more work, so it's a retake which works out for Nikki and Co. A nice advantage. The Bulgarians get a second.
They do indeed. Fate on 2 rounds. It's an important start for them. They need the confidence. They should have the confidence, right? Coming over from Inferno. Bringing it back to 16-14. Yes, they fell at the last hurdle. They could have taken that map in theory, but it's still a commendable comeback effort from them nonetheless on their opponent's map pick. Switching over to Dust 2. Every round they win at the start just primes them to push us onto Mirage as the decider.
Beagle up long. A spam which was hopeful, but Lollipop isn't going to be finding too much for now. Patrick has found Geo. So an advantage which goes the CT's way. And MDS lurking and creeping forward. Certainly wants to make an impact, and he might have got the timing also, but still scoped weapon towards Carl and Orp, which will certainly take advantage. Han in front of the car, at least gets one, but he nearly has a couple more players. The Deagle peaks, but Box in fact falls, so there's the advantage gained. And looks for more. And for now, NEMIGA have the advantage.
It's Fate with the advantage on the CT side. I know the UI can be a little bit confusing at times, but Speed left alone with the Deagle in the 1-on-4 situation regardless for NEMIGA, trying to get something done, but at this point in time, just looking unable to do so. The 4 rifles up against him. Surely they're too strong. Surely they put a stop on Blocker. He will do so in the late stages of the round. The first 3 rounds go to Fate then on this CT side. And NEMIGA, they'll be looking towards the guns for their first chance at victory.
Well, this is the time when they need to wake up and get going again. Fate. Bit of a quiet start. Sorry, Fate on the CT end of things. The other side 3-0 up. And DS and Lollipop. Well, a bit more work to do in that. Pre-fire could have certainly been something, but it's not quite an advantage for NEMIGA quite yet. 3 players now back out from long, which now applies a bit more presence on this short control.
Speed finding the opening kill with his AWP towards mid is a beautiful one for NEMIGA to find on the way in. Speed looking for even more here towards short. As the flashes support his peaks, they trade for Blocker towards long as well, and this A bomb site is primed to fall now unless someone like Mar can put a stop to it. It deals damage onto Speed at least. That puts a stop to the boost, and based on the tunnel's position of Jo, you'd expect them to start pushing the B bomb site, but with the bomb isolated now towards A long, they're instead going to wait for Fate to rotate over and push in the late instances.
Yeah, it's an awkward scenario that NEMIGA have really got themselves into, but it could work out. And in fact, pushing mid means Jo could become a little bit of a concern. And even the bomb top mid box is alone and in fact falls. So that doesn't go as expected. MDS is at least a man to strike one back, but still a 2-on-2 with the advantage in terms of the bomb in the CT Fate hands. Nikki and Patrick both have M4s, but MDS and Jo for NEMIGA at least have an AWP and an AK.
They have to be ready for him on the flank. Jo, they find him too. Patrick with the M4A1S removes him from the round, and with 20 seconds left, NEMIGA have no chance of winning this round. They can't even get to a bomb site in time, even if they could pick it up. So their gun round thwarted there by the initiative of Fate. They go for that mid push, and despite Speed's opening pick and the long control to boot, the roster just gets thinned out from NEMIGA, and they can't turn that into an attack.
Well, at the end, MDS is going to be the only survivor for the point of view of NEMIGA. HUD all fixed. Fate now look to build off of this, so it means for NEMIGA a force buy with weapons and AWP and AKs on both sides of things. Mainly M4s for Fate, but the occasional AK available to Patrick. And again, it's towards long, which is such a key point of this map. Again, quite common with the Molotovs, but Jo just used the smoke to extinguish his one. And after finding that early control, Fate back off and again apply a lot more momentum towards short and the CT doors.
They look to do so. Han whiffs the opening shot, but so does Speed, so things stay balanced at the beginning. Fate preserving a player on the A site going to be important as every second ticks down. The defenders become valuable. And NEMIGA, they haven't even tried to attack this B bomb site yet. So far, locked in towards A in their sights. Eventually, they're going to have to start winning rounds. JO will trade 1 for 1, but Blocker's rifle does the rest of the work in long, carrying over his skill from Inferno. The 3-on-4 now for NEMIGA to try and contest, but Hansorp can still be a serious nuisance.
Well, look who's lurking in from below. Patrick, I thought he was going to contest for the kill, but realistically, that's been the safer option, just to back away. And with Nikki also rotating in from doors, it means that Fate more or less haven't lost anyone trying to hold on to the site. And NEMIGA, if they just rushed that one player from below, if they committed towards it, that could have been a kill. In fact, Blocker whiffs. Speed 4K comes off better, and Han, well, he needs to now step up and make an impact play. Nikki, he's all alone. And NEMIGA still have an advantage with 17 seconds left to play.
They're going to push the tunnels, NEMIGA. They know that there could be an AWPer waiting in the wings from that A site, but they don't know there could be a rifler in the B site. Bomb dropped. The recovery found by Lollipop leaves Han now in the one-on-one. He's got box towards mid, and he's waiting for more aggression, but all he has to wait for is the time. None left for NEMIGA as they go in too late. And just that one kill from Nikki putting a stop to everything. NEMIGA, they can still get a buy together somehow around Lollipop's AWP. They want to go for it by the looks of things. Just the pistols, though, to support here. And Fate looking much, much stronger on Dust 2. This really could have been a 2-0 opportunity, you're thinking, if they could have closed out that Inferno. JO rushes out with his Tech 9 and is punished by Blocker. NEMIGA struggling to find a start here on Dust 2.
And it's weird to think that it's Fate who are now the side dominating and controlling early on. Lollipop's found Blocker, and that's a nice shot by Box to find Patrick. So an opening towards A and B, but this is B side. If Box finds this kill, which really now NEMIGA want to work with, but his team, they're trapped towards long. They've got to commit towards it. Han up in upper tunnels now has to make an impact. But I think Mars going to be this key one for Thales.
Has to be, but MDS gets the Deagle headshot through the smoke. Han thinks he's being smart by rotating onto what could have been the eventual B play, but there's no NEMIGA players here. Spots one towards CT, but he's now backed off to safety, MDS. And Fate, they might finally take a loss here. Starting on the CT side of Dust 2, obviously the more difficult one traditionally, but it's actually the one that Fate are more successful on in this map. So expect them to start strong here with a minimum of 8 rounds based on their previous performances.
Don't think Khan really has the option to go for anything at this stage. The clean start now cut short. NEMIGA keep an AWP, 2 rifles, and a lot of hope going forward now as they finally clock back with 1, but what more can they do? Fate's economy can't really stretch towards a buy. It's awkward. And while the AWP is saved, and while an M4 could be dropped, it's going to be a tough one. And for NEMIGA, they might just have the chance to snatch away a second.
They might indeed. They'd certainly enjoy that prospect. Build a platform, start arriving in this T side, because conversely, the CT side is a bit of a nightmare for NEMIGA on this map. They're really going to struggle perhaps more when they get there. Box, he plays the best in this one as we're seeing this kill. Finding it towards mid. Excellent job securing that one and the B site for his team, but I'm not quite sure we need to watch it 5 times in a row.
I mean, you know, Box will be proud of it. He got a kill. That was more or less that action that confirmed the site. We're going to watch it again. Why not?
I mean, listen, it's a good headshot. You know, you have to commend it. Credit where credit's due, but It is the pause that has been called out elsewhere. Fate, they've extended their timeout into what is a full-fledged pause. I'm assuming that's going to be because of technical issues, and it's an opportunity for them to discuss their economic situation, as you mentioned, which is very precarious indeed. Han definitely with enough to drop a teammate and keep the AWP for himself. Blocker, he might just be able to get a rifle out. Two cheeky FAMAS in the mix, but outside of that, two players on Fate have to drop down onto pistols.
Yeah, it's that awkward scenario, really. He's going to drop across at least two FAMASes, I believe that was. At least one dropped. So Fate fully committing is a bit of a risk, but they do have that round buffer to really fall back on if they need to. So a couple of rifles caught up. NEMIGA back on AKs, and the AWP remains on speed. And the speed, he will be that key player, which again, Fate will keep watch of with the AWP to see where it gets played. He considered going for the peak, but the smoke there towards upper tunnels. And meanwhile, while Fate have only one on the B site, it means four. Again, look towards short and mid. And again, Fate, they've been quite repetitive. They just give up long and focus their efforts a bit more safer.
It's the smart call. Stacking the A-bomb site. Hoping for an all-out NEMIGA onslaught, but they won't be gifted it just yet. Instead, NEMIGA, they want to play it cool. They want to burn that utility, and they've done a great job of it so far. Only the one smoke left in the hands of Mar. It's Nicky who wants to make a play through this. You can see with his P250. Just hoping that the contact bleed play is called, but instead he's taken down by MDS. The rest of NEMIGA, they want to push short, but there are three Fate riflers able to deal with this, and it looks like they might just have had the read on that.
Well, all of a sudden, it means these weapons that could suddenly become very deadly if they are forced into these close-range angles, and Mar just doesn't need to commit. He just loses the battle as expected to the AWPer, and no trade-out either means Fate, they've got themselves in a sticky scenario. They can re-smoke off CT, and NEMIGA can maybe split towards the B site. For MDS, a peek with that flash allows them, maybe both of them, and Han falls with the AWP. That would have been the key weapon, which Fate now look and wanted to have kept, but now this FAMAS has so much more work to do that I don't even know if it's worth saving.
Sticky, icky, and no more pickies for Fate in that round then, as Patrick has to run away with the FAMAS NEMIGA. It's virtually the flawless second gun round. Jo takes 1 point of damage moving in and securing that site. Patrick will get one kill towards the death of the round, but on 11 HP, contesting this fight may not be the best decision. There are more hunters waiting in the wings as well. He's become aware of that and eventually falls to Lollipop. Fate looking like they have to take their first eco of the map, and this is really NEMIGA's opportunity to come back into things, develop their own bank, and flesh out a healthy round streak.
Not much more can really be said off of that. NEMIGA now have their opportunity to really fight back and look to keep Dust too close and still look with the chance of maybe a 2-0 scoreline. They went for the boost. They tried to be creative, I think, crossing over. I don't really think Fate have gained much off of it, but because of that slow push and approach towards the site, it just meant Lollipop just got some free ones, and they don't clear Blocker. Hold on, that was a bomb dropped in an awkward scenario, and they've got almost had an advantage. Jo at least caught and saved with speed finding that last one, so NEMIGA get free, but it wasn't the cleanest of rounds that maybe they would have looked towards.
Not at all. Fate, they get a healthy amount of damage dealt. Blocker, he just sits in that Molotov. I'm not sure it actually lands on his position. It goes to the side instead and doesn't immediately spread around the back of the box, so they don't get the sound cues he's tucked behind there, which is why he's allowed to then swing out and find the frag that he does with that USPS. Han, he's back on his AWP in this round. He's B-hopping out short too to try and find some aggressive kills, but there aren't any NEMIGA players peeking him for the moment, so back into the A side he goes as the CIS side do target that portion of the map.
Fair enough, right? Because Fate's utility, it's so minimal. The AWP has to be cleared. Han, well, just becomes overwhelmed in the end by so many players. Jo, again, finding a trade, and Fate lose all of their A defenders. So an easy bomb plant should be expected from the CIS squad. They've just got to recover that from Car. Gives at least the CTs a chance to maybe explode and get more damage done. And that's where Lollipop gets caught out by Nicky. His teammate Patrick below in CT means it could be a deadly force, but with that smoke giving them cover, it means NEMIGA can at least get the step 1 done. The bomb is planted.
Fate have been allowed to get so much closer to the site, though, because NEMIGA had to recover that bomb. So much extra time to work with that they're going to look for the boost. JO's eliminated. They have no expectation of that whatsoever. And MDS left alone. Jump shots attempted. He has a HE that he will deploy for minimal damage only, and then gets taken out by Patrick in quick succession. The perfect retake there from Fate. The 2-on-2 works brilliantly. And NEMIGA, where on earth is the bomb? How have they managed to leave it all the way up long?
That's a mistake, right? If you just lose that bomb, you've got to communicate that across your teammates. And that's really the point that allowed Fate to work back into it. You said that they were, or NEMIGA were almost delayed by getting the bomb down, and that cost them the round more or less. So it means for Fate, they get 6 and they restore their economy. And a selection of rifles are available to them. Still an AWP and AKs for the NEMIGA side. At least another full gun round is available, but NEMIGA now have to be careful pushing up long. Nicky up first, but for now, he won't take the damage.
He won't indeed. Mark will follow up with 2 big kills instead. The FAMAS towards long shuts NEMIGA down in the early instances. Fate, they now have 3 players in this angle. The bomb's trapped in the corner on MDS's back, and it looks like the Bulgarians know it. He's trying desperately to escape. Would love an exit kill, but instead, he's just going to drop that bomb long. No options for NEMIGA now in this round. JO on 8k can find 1 kill for himself. Any more, just the bonus damage in this round. Otherwise, it's going to be a clean 7 for Fate, and they close in on that average scoreline of 8 rounds.
NEMIGA, you could almost argue they've not had the opportunity to really show up as much as maybe they had over on Inferno, but it's good to see Fate are certainly trying to keep this close, and on a map which they didn't look too ideal towards. It's still one of their fan favourites, and it's still a map which NEMIGA don't look too healthy on. And given this current scoreline, you can only hope for NEMIGA that they can maybe start to fight back around this point if they want to keep this even competitive. The second half of the CT side is going to be big, but speed just will need to be aware. Europe up close. For NEMIGA, 3 players look towards CT middle.
Trying to get something done this time towards mid. Blocker holding close with the AK, waiting for the aggression. MDS, the first man round, and he finds the headshot. The entry's brilliant. Molotov to stall the rest of the push, but the objective is completed. They've found that opening pick, and they've thinned out the defending forces of Fate. This time, they try A again, but in the later instance, there's no A long contestion from Fate. They should be able to get out absolutely free from that portion of the map, and if they can just figure out how to wrestle short control into their favor, they'd be set up for a decent A execute here.
The history for NEMIGA says that whenever they lose an opening player, they just seem to just fall and not find too much. So the fact that they've got this opening kill certainly means they've now got some advantage. JO, in fact, caught out by Mar. Mar getting 2 of them, in fact. So in middle, Fate doing half, and as they try and send the bomb up towards long, now a lot more work has to be completed by MDS and Lollipop. No up utility, but the kills at least are being found. They've got a 2-on-2, but that's so quickly swept away from them as Patrick and Nicky now look to hold off this play, and from long, it was Nicky's to win.
Fate, they look so strong here on Dust 2 NEMIGA. They might be falling by the wayside. In case you guys had forgotten, Hellcase is the official case partner of this tournament. You can use code MALTAV15 there as shown to save even more on that particular site. 8-3 for the Bulgarians. Nicky has to drop down onto an auto shotgun. NEMIGA, they're going to hit the B bomb site with the pistols they have to hand, but they might actually push lower straight into the auto. They've peeked around the corner, and it's only good for 1. AK temporarily put down. NEMIGA, they had the 4-4, but now Han's AWP continues to do work, and they can't put enough pressure on it to remove it.
Han had to be so careful there, and that was the right call to just fall away, just to ensure that that big green weapon doesn't get handed across to maybe Speed and the NEMIGA lineup. Talking of Speed, he just backs away after sending that Molotov in towards short to try and bait something out from Fate. And in terms of the utility, again, Fate, they've been baited out quite well. They're left with a flash and a nade, but still a player advantage in their favour. NEMIGA, they won't be winning the half, but if they can maybe start to fight back and get some more rounds to keep this competitive, then that second half could make it all to play for, but it's kind of falling apart here.
Indeed it is, Mark. Finds Lollipop and Speed on the way in, looking for the third two. He'll get it. Cleans up that short push. NEMIGA now, they're the side who look lost here on Dust 2. 9-3 down. They need to start finding T rounds soon, because the CT side isn't going to be any easier up against Phaeton. At the pace we're currently going, Mirage is not in the too distant future.
6-round lead. That's what Fate now have to work with. At least NEMIGA have a full buyout. That's been missing for at least a round or two now. So now they've got the weapons, they've got to shine, but Fate a little different. In fact, send flashes in towards mid. Smokes also, and it is Nikki who gets that initial Angel 1. NEMIGA still look towards short, but still there is a player, or was a player, in Nikki keeping watch of it. He's down in CT, and good set of trade use. The utility goes out with 1:25 to go. NEMIGA now have to get that next kill, or else, like I said earlier, they might just fall apart yet again.
Really struggling on this T side, and it's not like NEMIGA are totally incompetent on the map, but when they have bad days here, it really all goes wrong for them. It just, you wonder how much damage could Fate be doing if they'd won that first map. They could be finishing it all off here, but instead they have to fight for Mirage. They're in the great place to send us there. So far, 3 rounds left in the first half. NEMIGA 6 currently, their best outlook for a T-side scoreline on Dust 2. It's not the ideal situation. Nikki in the close angle, he has to listen to this.
Well, the smoke goes down literally on top of him. NEMIGA now try and commit, but the trade kills aren't effectively there by NEMIGA. Lollipop's the only man who's got anything back, but trying to creep onto the site. And with Mar also holding towards long range Fate, they've got more or less players all across the board to try and make this retake happen. Rom at least planted for Lollipop. 12 HP is now all he's got to work with, and it's just a struggle. They can't get anything done. The York now towards short could be threatened. Tap it away. Lollipop gets it for 2 HP and 3 more to find. This is a tough ask, but he's got 2 and kept that close.
Does the economic damage, but that really doesn't matter at this point in time for NEMIGA. 10-3 down on the opening half of Dust 2. 2 more opportunities to score in this first half, and it's only Lollipop who's really showed up for the side. He's the only man who's got more than 10 kills. He tries to cling on in this round, you can see, but on 2 HP, there was never any chance he had that round to boot. Fate showing us exactly why they picked this map. They're loving this CT side. They've certainly earned more than their average 8 rounds on the half. And they want to do even more damage here towards long. MDS going to rush straight out through the utility. Get tagged down, but not traded just yet. Eventually, the second flash will see him to the afterlife. But NEMIGA start to stabilize at long. And Box, with that kill, secures the advantage for Fate.
Well, Cheyo, in fact, says no to any advantage whatsoever that they gained so quickly towards long. That nade's so good. 1 HP and 3 HP. Lollipop and Box really shouldn't be alive at this point, but they're flashed in. The M4 doesn't do enough. Box and Lollipop still somehow alive, but they've got an AWP to now fight against who hasn't taken any damage so far. They heard him towards CT, but now looks towards short. And NEMIGA, I hate to say it, if they throw this round, surely they shouldn't be allowed anything else left in this map.
Does he know the HP? That's the question you have to ask Han. A rifle would get it done easily, but it's the collat. He just styles on them. They sit there. They wait for the AWPer lined up. And he pushes long and puts a stop to it. It looked very close, but check this one out. The round hangs in the balance, and one bullet finishes it all off. NEMIGA, it's been a nightmare here on Dust 2. They just praying now for Mirage to start, as they have only one more opportunity for an offensive round.
And it's only because Box peeked also that meant that Kalak kill was possible. If he didn't peek, if maybe his teammate fell and there was a bait in that, then there could have been a chance, but 11-3 down. I don't know how NEMIGA can really afford to stay in this, and so quickly losing a player on Patrick's little pre-fire. NEMIGA completely shut out a team way above Fate on the rankings, by the way. All of a sudden, this CIS squad aren't really looking too fruitful and too hopeful. And as Speed sets off a little bit of utility, it's going to be this play towards long, which could certainly determine how round 15 plays out.
The push from short. He comes through from the CIS squad, and Lollipop just wants to wait before he reveals himself so that his flank can have the absolute maximum level of impact. Bomb planted uncontested from Fate at the moment as they finally look to push up the ramp. Lollipop, he instead goes towards mid to find the rotators from mid, and he gets both Nikki and Han. Excellent effort, but the retake still very much on, and only 2 players on short for NEMIGA.
Well, that Molotov could do so much. 12 HP for Mar, but trapped towards an awkward angle. And Box 4 HP could really fall here. The AK peaks, and with low bullets, he does enough. Finally, there's 4, but for NEMIGA, sorry, I don't know if that's going to be enough. A massive uphill struggle now to follow Fate for pistol round, and a victory there. Mirage could be all but confirmed here in our best of 3 elimination match.
It is, and just look at the fragging from that T side of NEMIGA. The opposite story to what we saw on Inferno. Lollipop and Box leading the way on 16 and 12 each. Meanwhile, the rest of the team not even able to get up to double digits in terms of kills. 4 out of the 5 players from Fate accomplished that on the CT side. And with Patrick and Mart with almost the equivalent amount of kills of NEMIGA's top player, it's no wonder that things have been going so well for Fate.
Well, we expected NEMIGA to really come off on top, to look strong and favourites, but all of a sudden they seem to be in the limelight as a potential team to get eliminated from this stage, who probably are one of the biggest teams, at least in this Group C matchup and in the group entirely. I can't wait to see how the odds are going to be favoured. Fate at least have 11. Now switch to the T side. NEMIGA, a lot more work to do for Talis, and there's going to be so much to watch out for.
A lot more work to do indeed. There, the loop odds come through. They were looking like the favourites at the start of the map, but now 11 odds vote for them to win. It's super likely that they are going to be able to do it, but imagine if you did place that and pulled off the comeback. Loopbet would be offering you a hefty payout in that situation. NEMIGA, though, they have to look towards the pistol round before they can try and make any upset bettors happy. And they still have to repel Fate, who have already deployed their utility towards mid.
Well, Jo might be impactful in how this plays out. Some shots not quite connecting, so playing the safe game. And if he gets, well, if he wanted a trade kill, that might not be possible. But this position could have been huge, but Box can't find anything to block her, and Fate can now certainly try and contest and try and push up, but they need to clear this close angle. This pistol, looking for so much, doesn't achieve too much. Lollipop on site does find one and looks for more. Tapping away of the USP bullets, minimal. And Fate, they now try and really storm onto the site.
Oh, it's just so dangerous. Patrick on the flank eventually gets rid of Lollipop, and MDS is left alone. 1-on-2 in the pistol. USP to hand. As soon as Mar plants, he knows that it's going to bait the peek from MDS. He's now found the opening headshot, so he wants to retreat to range. It's the ideal position to take the fight from, and Mar, he should be aware of that. Has to play passively. Stop showing your head, my boy. Eventually, it's going to get tapped through the wall. It occurs, and now on 16, Mar playing much more passively, less willing, but still strafing out for these peaks, and eventually gets punished by MDS. A real mistake there from him, perhaps a bit overzealous in that 1v1.
Well, credit to Lollipop, who did so much work and did so well to just try and keep that site in NEMIGA's favour. They at least do the hard task, and credit to MDS, who at least completes the 1-on-2 retake to ensure that isn't a threat. That last shot, it got so hairy, so concerning, and it was so easier as soon as that bomb went down. Patrick was alone. And with NEMIGA now at least on 5, they've still got a bit of work to do to find some victory here, but at least the hope is that a 2-0 clean streak can still maybe come through.
It's just a misplay all over from Mara. I didn't even realize that he had a flashbang in his back pocket. Not only is he peeking needlessly, but he's doing it dry. And his opponent could be blind. Boca will trade for Lollipop's opening frag in this round, and he goes big with the second. Wallbang works out. Han's scout finds speed now as well. The A-bomb site in a lot of danger from this Fate assault. Jayo, the only man who can put a stop to this long push. Han's scout will rip his head off instead, and MDS's MP9 is all that's left to save things for NEMIGA.
Well, now call it an AK because that's what he's upgraded to. 73 HP. But on Molotov, which Fate can read. They knew where this last player was, and now he's got a kit still available, but still has a lot more work to do, and he needs to make sure that Car is one of these angles which he clears first, because that's a scout which could so rip him apart. And despite this time that they've had to go for the bomb plant, it only now ticks down, so a delayed response, and the scout looks towards long, so this is a perfect opportunity, but it's a smoke.
He's crept straight up. How have they not peeked it? Eventually, Han looks the right way. The timing on that, oh, that's rage-inducing for MDS. That was his round if he'd have pulled the trigger, but a second sooner. Eventually, Fate wise up. They pick up the 12, and now NEMIGA, they start to look lost on the CT side. The T's should theoretically be in full control of the economy at this point. NEMIGA's pistols actually last minute upgraded to the full investment. They want to contest this round.
Well, this is a big scary concern. NEMIGA at least don't even go for a stack. They just default their approach. The Deagle spam, it's good for some damage, but it's not even a kill. Han, still despite being tagged up, can help ensure that there is a kill which goes in that direction. Jayo, the man to trade out. NEMIGA now try and send whatever they can in terms of damage, and nade is a response, but it's still a 3-on-3, and certainly one that NEMIGA can at least try and contest.
The grenade stops the plant at the very least, which buys time for Lollipop to begin the tunnel's flank. Finally, Blocker looks in his direction, but it's not an angle being actively held just yet. The smoke should prevent him from pushing, but he's definitely thinking about going through it and supporting his team. Makes the steps in the end. They find him now, and Speed, his Deagle, the only thing left to find. Blocker's triple kill. Give Fate the round now, and NEMIGA just 3 more chances to stop it from going to the decider.
Not only 3 more chances, but a lot more work to do if they want to maybe have any say here on Dust 2. So Mirage, it could become a voting point and a deciding factor in this series. And the scary thing also, the concerning thing is whoever loses this still has, or whoever wins, sorry, still have to play another best of 3 tonight to determine what's going to be the outcome of Group C. And that damages at least something onto MDS. Fate again, they go fast and play quick towards the B side, and Han in fact gets the opener. And despite the Max 10 being there, NEMIGA have in fact only got 1 kill back.
They have indeed. Just the USPs, no armor. Retaking the B bomb site on Dust 2. No, thank you. Blocker finds Lollipop, and Speed, he's just hoping somebody leaves through the tunnels at the end of the round. Will eventually look round with his USP. Nobody peeking him for now, but Han should eventually spot him out. Gives the info to Fate, and they'll eventually push him down. You have to expect. The USP nearly finds Han, does eventually convert. But what else can he accomplish? Nothing, realistically. Charges into the site, looking for extra damage, but he will find a couple of tags, at least not enough. Or is it just enough there to drag another player out of the round?
Yeah, Blocker fell at the end of that, so that's at least something. But Fate's money is just certainly built up, especially on Blocker, so they can technically get a couple of AWPs out. It's not required. just the one I think is best for them, along with a load of AKs and full utility. But talking about multiple AWPs, NEMIGA now have that opportunity to maybe utilize it, but with a victory here, still a lot more work has to be done to really keep them in this, and this is where Fate could certainly steal and control the map, and it comes to Mirage.
That is the inevitability at this point. A 14-5 scoreline on the CT side of Dust 2, NEMIGA. You don't even want to hear their average win percentage of CT rounds on this map. It's in the 30s. Not boding well for their opportunities to make it over and secure this map for the 2-0. Instead, Fate just bide their time, burn that CT utility, which has been reduced at this point to 1 smoke and 1 flash only, and then look to execute to secure map point.
JO's only got 6 kills. It's something I hate to mention, but it's something you've got to look towards to see why NEMIGA haven't entirely had the best chances. But the AWP at least can convert something, and with it, NEMIGA can trade out. But even in these scenarios, they've not always had the best chances. 1 HP in the end. Rocker, he's taken too much damage from close up in the doors. So NEMIGA play it safe. They group up with a 2-2 split on each site. And if MDS can step up and find something more here, it could help his side get something more and look towards 6. But 23 seconds, Fate, they have to have the pressure on them now.
They have to go for this short push. No time left. Box and Lollipop can put a stop to this just with well-timed kills. 10 seconds to get on the site. Fate need the kills. They get the first Box. The only man who can stop this now. They have to root him out, and they do so just in the nick of time. The bomb will be committed. Fate secure the plant. The retake begins for NEMIGA. MDS finds that opening headshot. The second one's beautiful. Mar found as well. MDS recovers for now, and Fate denied map point for the moment.
And Lollipop and Box seem to have done enough to really not only tag down the players, but despite the late deaths and the late issues with that, Fate's money is still in a pretty strong scenario to really allow them to at least push on to maybe find 16. MDS just individually, that was phenomenal and perfect.
Just pulling it off clinically here. 2 headshots followed up by the spray down. Recovers the AWP at the end. The dream scenario, but realistically speaking, has he just prolonged an inevitable fate for NEMIGA? Fate are the ones who get to decide that fate. I promise I'll stop saying the word eventually.
I was more concerned by the pun you made, but I'll accept it this time, as JO just misses a chance to really secure damage over in middle. Again, might be a key component to how NEMIGA's CT side really rattles Fate's upcoming attack. And just to point out, Lollipop was actually aggressed in towards doors, or he went towards it, so there's no A-long control yet. Fate quite hungry to work off of this mid control. They've got Nikki up on short. Fate, if anything, just want an opening kill to go their way, and they want to get something for free, but NEMIGA know they can't be making silly or easy mistakes now, and while 2 players have a lot of utility, if either of these players do fall, then a retake scenario is going to be a massive concern and a massive issue for NEMIGA.
It looked like it would have been a massive issue for NEMIGA in that last round as well, but MDS arrived and took it all on single-handedly. Now Fate, they look to charge out short instead. No long control whatsoever on this execution. How much is that going to cost them? Speedzorp still alive and kicking. That's the first frag found with it. And it follows up as well. How many more want to test the sniper? Box's SMG instead goes aggressive to find the next frag of the round, and that's Fate pretty much removed from proceedings in round 21. No time to commit to the execute, and the bomb out in no man's land. They just have to save.
And NEMIGA at this point now have to keep these players alive. They've got to keep building up this finances if really they want to have a chance at the end. And Han can at least get a trade out. MDS was the player to fall on 14, but their money at least now starting to recover. And talking about money in terms of Fate, it's not an ideal scenario. They've saved an AWP. Patrick can get an AK, and Nicky would have that rifle without any armor. It's a risky call now, Patalis, because you've got this AWP, but do you force around it?
Well, Fate, they have the round buffer to do so, but here's the issue if they do. They force around the AWP, they drain their own economy, they put NEMIGA on 8 rounds. They then have to take an eco, which is likely to give NEMIGA 9, and you might be thinking that 5 is certainly still enough of a buffer for Fate to still close this map out, but at that point in time, all NEMIGA realistically have to do is win one more gun round, and they're over double digits and well on their way to coming back. So Fate, they make the cautious call. They save here, they eco instead of the purchase, and look for the full guns to convert the 2 rounds they need.
Well, fair enough. They have gone for that safer option, and in fact, Patrick gets one on box in towards the middle angles. So an unexpected advantage at least picked up for the Fate side. They're working their way slowly towards short, which means for now this AWP won't have too much to do, and it's going to be the other AWP now tested up on a speed, boosted up on sight. Has a good angle, but it's a one-and-done angle if he misses anything now. And look at Fate stacking up. Now want to try for a little run boost, and it works, and it forces speed away. The no-scope is good, but Blocker can strike back first. 1 minute. They've got time for at least a plant, and I think they've done enough to maybe find map points.
Patrick, how has he just walked straight past MDS there? Surely he's not allowed to pull off another clutch. It's denied by Han in the end. The AWP puts the man to the grave, and Fate, they really want to take us to Mirage now. Perhaps bored of Dust 2 as they cripple NEMIGA's economy and look to finally put the boot to their neck and take us on to the decider.
And you have to consider that round also was potentially a couple of pistols upgraded around a saved AWP, and Fate come off victors. Han can't quite find the mid shot or the timing of it, but it's still going to be a fast one up towards a long, which NEMIGA have always had to force back away from. So now 3 players on site, combined with this B push, is certainly going to be a concern as Blocker now looks for the second MDS, in fact, allowed to beat that M4.
Can't hold his spray down against the advanced mobility of the SMG, and already MDS is going to rotate over towards the A bomb site, slowly first, as he's cautious of mid, but eventually he is going to rejoin this defense. He knows he has to. NEMIGA just can't make any more mistakes. 3 tagged up players from Fate. They're going to charge into the A bomb site. Lollipop finds the first with a headshot. He finds the second 2 as well. He wants to finish this round off with his M4. Han's AWP, all that's left to do work from the pit. It'll get one of the pistols, but with a minute left on the clock, 3 more kills with a player on the flank. Unlikely for him to find victory.
And I don't think NEMIGA even need to commit or push towards this. 11 HP now. This AWP just looks for some exit damage. And it is his death. It is an 8 for NEMIGA, but the round buffer still heavily at Fate's favour. They've got so much time and so many rounds to fall back upon that despite them possibly going towards an eco now, it's not a massive concern. And if you remember the last time Fate had an eco, they surprisingly got themselves onto map point.
They did indeed. Can they finish it off with one? That's the question. B, definitely the target. Speed from Fate. Diverted to the lower tunnels. Nobody contesting short for NEMIGA at the beginning of the round is going to allow Fate a small degree of map control, but as soon as they push these mid doors, they've got MDS's M4 to deal with. Glocks looking for the headshots. Instead, they'll be content with smoking him off and hoping he can't get any more. His grenade will finish off the player he tagged, but it's Jayo who's going to go big on B instead. No one from Fate allowed access to the B bomb site. NEMIGA clean it up. 15-9, they dispatch the eco, and Fate's buy still not perfect if they go for it.
And I can't tell if this is way too late for NEMIGA to really cause a comeback and some upset here on Dust 2 if they now somehow take us to overtime, because they haven't had the best CT half there. Opening half wasn't ideal on the T side. Fate, I feel, might have done enough, but we're down to at least now 6 rounds between them and an overtime potential period. Mac 10 is the weakest purchase for Fate going forward, but still got AKs and an AWP, and NEMIGA only have 1 AWP out.
Only the one sniper rifle to work with on the CT side. Perhaps more than enough, though, if Speed can keep finding the impact that he has been doing so far. It's been impressive CT AWPing, that is for sure. And while Fate's T side has looked weaker than their CT, 6 rounds in a row from NEMIGA to defend against. It's just so much to ask for at the end of this map. They don't want to be eliminated, but with a map in their back pocket, you have to admit that the motivation might not be all the way there for NEMIGA as Fate finally set their sights on this A bomb site and want to go for a split push by the looks of things.
That nade perfectly timed just affects Nicky to force him down to a 50 HP, and combined damage with a Molotov means it's not going to be the cleanest entrance if it was meant to be one towards A, but instead that CT drop down and this angle from Jayo has to be big. 1 kill converted, a second too far away now. MDS has to step up. He's got to keep his side in this, but a 3-on-3 left for NEMIGA to retake the B site is their objective, and Patrick deep in tunnels is really their key threat.
He can't find Lollipop. That's dangerous now for Fate as Han, he gets taken out by Speed's AWP crossing through the door, and NEMIGA will stay alive. They find the first of 6 rounds necessary to finish the series on Dust 2. They do deal damage to Fate's economy, but on the T side, they'll keep being able to buy up rifles if they don't care about the utility. NEMIGA do well to hold on. Still more work to be done.
That is a key idea as well for Fate, because if they force out rifles, it might be useful, but they've had a lot of utility to focus, especially in that last round, to make that play towards B happen, and in the end, the afterpart wasn't ideal, so maybe they just go for the safer option of going for the eco, allowing yourself an AWP, and allowing yourself that full buy, but they do have to be careful, because if NEMIGA now start to build up this confidence, Fate, they might lose that motivation to stay going, and NEMIGA, well, might not be too far away from the 2-0. Jayo and Speed at least have 2 AWPs out.
It'd be so horrible for Fate to throw at this point, but I don't know why, Louis. There's no reason for it, but I'm starting to get a little bit of deja vu from the first map. If it ends on a 16-4 scoreline, that'd be the most tilt-worthy way for things to end for NEMIGA on this map. It's obviously a possibility as they look to hold on, but Fate, with the pistols, ever so dangerous, they can still get it all done. We know that much is true. No mistakes can be afforded. Box has to dump this nade soon for it to be effective.
I'm just waiting. I just hope he throws it now when Fate have players in the lower tunnels, but 4 players down there. And Box, I think, is just waiting for someone up close to, in fact, pop, but a Molotov instead goes in that direction. NEMIGA force themselves away from potential danger. An AWP and an AK now look for something, and effectively the AWP was playing anti-flash. 1 minute. The nade may be too soon to cause a concern. It's mainly pistols, it's a smoke and some flashes, which Fates have at least to work with. And while the flash doesn't allow the AWP to take control, Fate do get a bit more map control, but a smoke back and NEMIGA back in control.
There's that nade from Box. Does damage on to Patrick, but the rest of Fate get away relatively unscathed. Box now deep within a smoke. He's done well to get this position, and it's all about timing. He has to go out behind these Fate players who are rushing all around him. One of them even walks straight into him. He has the beautiful level of info. Lollipop there to secure the site. This force dispatched by NEMIGA. 4 still alive, the important thing for that CT economy. Fate, they'll get the guns together in this one and look to apply the brakes to this CIS comeback.
Well, credit really to NEMIGA once again for really keeping this so close, and now starting to pull this back. They're going to start to believe that a comeback and a win on Dust 2 is possible, and that for Fate would be so unnecessary. They've still got map point, but they've had it for a while. A flash towards long certainly forces the AWP off of the angle. For now won't be affected. This flash on short even better, but Box for him, it's only an initial 1 kill.
That's the ultimate play, though. If he overstays his welcome in mid, loses out that trade, he throws away NEMIGA's advantage. And in situations like this, when you're clawing back from an immense deficit, it's all about the marginal gains. Every possible advantage you can apply needs to stack and stack and stack until eventually you break that overtime threshold. The opening kill secured. 3 defenders still going to be alive on the CT side, holding true against the inevitable Fate attack, and only 2 smokes left for the T side to actually conduct and execute.
That's the concern. They've got no flashes to really maybe make some players blind and little and low on visibility, but a Molotov instead is how Box will delay this potential approach. Peek in is good, but it's not quite the damage, and this is where NEMIGA do have to be careful. They can't overpeak. Blocker jumps into CT, and Hearn and Mar find kills, but maybe there is a finish and an end here. That all needs to connect, but JO and MDS now left in a 2-on-4 retake.
The focus of NEMIGA, it's drawn into short by the utility. And the push from long. Ma making the difference now. The 2-on-4 for NEMIGA to stay alive. Both players going to push from short. They're looking to boost with the AWP for the first kill as well. It's not going to find anything here. They have to go for it. Time being eaten away due to this smoke. Nikki already found JO, and 1 more kill. The difference between Fate and the Mirage play. MDS already getting sprayed down. He'll get a headshot, looks for a follow-up, but can't convert. Hahn puts a stop to it, and eventually Fate send us to Mirage with a 16-11 victory.
And NEMIGA, again, they had the chance to really fight back and keep it close, and while it wasn't really enough going forward, it means that there's certainly a third map, and there's certainly an open chance for either side to come off as a winner over in Mirage coming up now.
Yeah, we will be bringing you that map just after this quick break. Don't go anywhere. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Malta Vibes, brought to you by Gaming Malta. And we are ready to go into map 3 very shortly. It's been an intense best of 3 series, one that's gone certainly back and forth between NEMIGA and Fate. Fate had the opportunity to make a statement on Inferno, but narrowly lost out 16-14. And when they won the second map, they knew they had the chance to 2-0, but now it's taken to Mirage, the map that most favors NEMIGA. I'm Protalis, and joining me is, of course, Louis to bring you this final map.
And we're just as surprised to see really this to go all 3 maps. We expected maybe NEMIGA, a team ranked higher and a team a lot more stable in terms of their roster and in terms of what they've achieved in the past few months. Suddenly being dragged to a third map by a team just outside the top 50 in Fate to realistically almost demolished that Dust 2 CT side in the end.
Yeah, they absolutely do. NEMIGA had the opportunity to come back, but they just got wrecked too early on in the half. So we do have the game now underway to bring you the 9th round. Just about to go live here on Mirage. You can see in the top right-hand corner the reminder of the scorelines if you weren't aware. 16-14 on Inferno and 16-11 on Dust 2.
Now on to quite a balanced and quite an open map, it's worth saying. It's Mirage, it's everyone's favourite map, which nobody's got bored of quite yet. It's still left in the game, so people still obviously play it. Blocker and NEMIGA seem to have had no issues with this 9th round. Jo was the only one man to find anything, so we head into our decider with lots to play for. The loser going home and being eliminated from Group C. Let's see what this final map can bring us in one of 2 last series tonight.
Well, for NEMIGA, they're certainly going to be hoping victory. They have the edge statistically. They play this map more. They win more on it. But interestingly enough, Fate's stats on Inferno are worse than they are here on Mirage, and they were still able to take us to a 16-14. Based on how the rest of this series has been going, NEMIGA struggling to win out when ultimately it should be their advantageous position to do so, and perhaps after the loss on Dust 2, they might struggle on Mirage.
I don't think we'd even be surprised by the concept that both of these sides, they've certainly played Mirage quite a few times in the past few days.
We can see the loot bet odds at the top here, still favouring NEMIGA despite that loss in the second map. Fate with the 2.81. I disagree with that personally. I think that this was a slightly more even affair. Personally, I'd angle them around the 2.0 mark.
Both sides have played Mirage 7 times in the past 4 days, so both sides are more than happy to at least give this a try. So open as anything for this decider, where NEMIGA will feel they should be coming off better, but a fast play towards speed just cut short. Han catches out speed, and with it, what started as a fast play towards speed now becomes a lot of focus down towards mid. Nikki just misses the bullets, allows 2 to cross, and allows Jo to find Mar on the defensive, but they've not cleared the key angle.
Ooh.
Blocker, Ali steps up for one, and he wants more, but for now just trade some damage.
Fate, CT side goes from strength to strength, but the replies from NEMIGA come through. MDS now alone. He's found the next kill he needs. Han in the one-on-one situation, USP towards short, and MDS has the bomb. Han just has to get the info here, and now MDS is playing the mind games. Is he going to wait for Han to run away? And back into this B site he goes. Han, he's stuck around behind the pillar. He's played this like the dream, and he's landed the headshots as well. The opening pistol go the way of Fate. And at the start of Mirage, that CT economy hangs on such a precipice that NEMIGA still have the opportunity to really claim that early momentum.
There was no bomb plant in there, but like you said, they've certainly got a chance to force up some weapons. Maybe some SMGs now come out for NEMIGA, and they might try and force this CT economy into a weak scenario in these opening stages. Going forward, it's at least a force from the CTs, but what looks to be an eco from the T side of NEMIGA. Patrick went up close, but there's Molotov in the way to stop that fast play, and that's a nice shot, at least from JM, to open up A.
Beautiful opener, but what will the response be from Fate? Nothing is the answer. Jo going ham with this deagle on the bomb site, found himself a second headshot. A third would be dreamlike almost, it feels, but instead Nikki removes him with the FAMAS. Han has found box elsewhere, but MDS has brought it into the 2-on-2. The only bad thing for NEMIGA is that both their players are up in these apartments, and one with just a Glock. Han will clean him up at the end. 3 kills total, and that's important for the Fate economy not to lose out early.
No, and while there's going to be a little bit of a economic backlash after that, it's still a good chance for Fate to force out an AWP and get some good weapons out in round number 3. And I do want to just keep watch in case they go for that bonus buy, because NEMIGA certainly have good finances. They'll certainly have AKs to work with, and you have to just keep watch, because considering that was some upgraded pistols, they kept that close and tasty.
Tasty indeed. NEMIGA, they've got the gun rounds out. They want a nice meal of their own in this one. Hopefully they don't make a meal out of it. They push up mid, and Patrick finds the first player. Mar almost good for the second. It's Han who has to recover. Elsewhere on to Jo on the A-bomb site. Fate, despite losing a man, they have the advantage. The trades ever favoring them seemingly at the moment, as NEMIGA, for a side that's done so well recently, they've looked trouble today.
NEMIGA, I feel like they can still cause some troubles, especially going forward, despite having a disadvantage at the moment. But this round really relies on what gets found in mid by Speed 4K. One of the more experienced players in this lineup, one of these key players that have helped allow NEMIGA a great opportunity to push forward within the CIS region. But timing means Patrick might come off better, and he's lucky to escape, but it was only a minor escape, and that's brilliant by Speed just to put themselves in a man advantage. 3-on-2, but still an AWP looks for damage, and Hearn could certainly get more than one here.
Certainly could. NEMIGA, they want to close in on the A-bomb site. The AWP has so many angles to worry about. Even CT is in danger. Nikki over on the B bomb site. His MP9 to rotate across, but from short, the range would be too great for that weapon to be truly effective. He can't even land the opening shots, instead having to push ladder room, knowing that jungle lies his only option, and this plant can no longer be denied from Hearn, who's AWP. It rings out shots, but is yet to find any players. Time ticking now for the CTs.
Well, the CTs have at least one kit available. Utility low, and that was at least damaged Nikki. It was awkward, but he at least converts the opening, and it becomes a 2-on-2 ever so quickly. But this AWP in Palace is the real concern. The AWP, in fact, falls. Nikki, credit to him for converting that, but Speed's got the angle, but Hearn fully prepared for it. What a retake by Fate, who, despite having a disadvantage, can still come off better, and despite taking some damage, the defuse kit won't even be needed to finish off this one.
Awesome retake for the Fate guys there in a round that would have done serious damage to their economy. Patrick on 1.4k just after buying up armor and utility, so the weapons having to be dropped forward for sure. NEMIGA can still get the AKs out, but their money too lies on a precipice with a loss in this round. Lollipop and Box yet to frag so far in the opening 3 rounds on the way in. Still plenty of an opportunity for them to do so, but Fate now already have the double orbs out.
Blocker just watches things. NEMIGA start this one off quite slowly, but that's an aggressive way to open up the site of A. Blocker still hasn't been cleared, and while there's now 2 players hiding in jungle, the smokes in the way just allow NEMIGA that breathing point and that sigh of relief just to give them some cover. And for Fate at this point, all trapped essentially in the CT alleyway. They've got so much work to do, but Mar at least finding MDS means a retake is far from impossible, but given the scenario they're in, they want to save and keep these weapons, and with it, also keep that 1 orb.
They do want to save these weapons. Not only was investing into the double orbs expensive, but Nicky has 4k or thereabouts. Han as well will be able to buy himself, so Fate can flush out a full buy in the next round if they save now, whereas if they lose those 2 M4s or all 3 players combined, that full buy is not a prospect. It would have to be an eco in the next in that situation. So the correct call for the save in round 4. It gifts NEMIGA their first on the T side of Mirage, and realistically in the current meta, that is the easier side of things. So you're expecting NEMIGA to have the round advantage at the end of the half.
That's what they've got to go and focus towards, but for now, full buyout thereabouts available. And Fate, like you said, have at least done enough to cement what is good enough to be a full buy on their end. You're still on Hearn, and only 1 kit between 5 of them is the only weakness, and minimal utility could become a concern later on. And rightly so, NEMIGA look to have made a right call if they were to commit towards B. Molotov not good enough to be smoked out, so that'll be opening damage at least achieved, but Nicky flashed out, completely annihilated, means NEMIGA now can at least look towards a bomb plant.
Bomb site given away from Fate. 4 players alive makes it more likely for them to be able to retake here, but now the bomb's gone down, time starts ticking away. You can see Patrick actually runs back into A. He thinks a fake might have been sold before the plant comes through, but now Fate have left it just too long, I feel. They have to back out themselves, knowing that without any early kills, this retake is just an impossible situation to walk into. Looking like 9 players going to survive at the end of this round then. Fate having to save 2 rounds in a row. Very cognizant play from them in what is the final map for one of these teams.
Well, the final map of the series, and also what for the loser is the final map of their chances in this. Feed and his team stay all alive. Fate only lose Nicky, but because they went for that very quick call to save, it means a full purchase will again be available to both sides, but we have to see at least Fate now start to challenge in these gun rounds and for the retakes. And while Nicky isn't a concern to be dropping down to a FAMAS, Fate just become overwhelmed twice by an NEMIGA attack, and fast ones have certainly been the concern, so they now maybe look to speed things or slow things down, as Fate in fact stack quite a few players mainly towards that A site.
This could be the perfect call from Fate as well. NEMIGA, they want to sell the fake on the B bomb site, anticipating a stack perhaps in the wrong direction. 1 player has rotated over. That's Han's AWP. And as NEMIGA continue to sell this, how many more will they bait away? You can see Blocker already second-guessing his angle, but eventually focuses back and finds the kill onto Lollipop. MDS now doesn't make his way out of Palace until Jayo arrives, and they can more effectively secure the A-bomb site. Flames deters Han from the murder hole peak. He now has to make his way to CT and assist Patrick. But with Nicky so far away, is this even a possibility from Fate?
Fate again, I don't really want to see them save it. I want them to at least challenge it, and that utility usage is so good because Patrick forced away really could have been dead there. So a lucky escape for the Fate youngster means he can work forward. But that could be right towards Jo, who's holding in jungle, and Box can easily dispatch of this FAMAS, hopefully from behind, but a FAMAS says otherwise. 3-on-3 retake with quite a few tagged up players, and I think Fate have again made the call to just back out and save what they've got.
Interesting call from them. Despite getting the opening kill on the way back in, Nicky backs out to keep the AK and preserve that CT bank. It's heads up play. It's definitely smart calling and leadership, but the issue with these strats is that if you take no risks, you get no rewards. And in the last map of an elimination series, you can understand the desire to be conservative, but at some point in time, against a side that has a better record on this map against you, you're probably going to need to do something unorthodox in order to put yourself ahead.
You also have to consider as well, this is so early on in which NEMIGA are forcing Fate to go for these saves. If Fate just keep forcing or keep going for the saves or keep losing players unnecessarily, then it means that NEMIGA can just thrive off of this confidence. They can vibe and they can keep pushing forward. Box for now, or at least win the mid control combined with the smoke and the Molotov. Another Molotov and another smoke in both directions on short really mean, for me and for NEMIGA, mid control is so vital to how this map will play out. But 125 and a slower approach, Fate need an opening and they could get it here in Connector.
They desperately want it, but Blocker backs off before he's found. MDS incredibly low, thanks to that spam utility combo from the CT side. Bomb all the way back towards top mid. NEMIGA are nowhere near ready for an execute. Blocker will get the opening kill, but Box with the reply. That's all they were realistically looking for. What's their game plan, though, in the round? That's the real question from the T side. They clearly want the CTs to get more aggressive, and they'll be gifted just that. Speed finds Hahn before Nicky steers things back under terrorist control. 3-3 on the scoreline. 35 left on the clock, and the bomb still yet to be picked up by the T's.
That's a vital kill also for Lollipop to find on the A site. That's more or less opened things up, and NEMIGA, while they have to be just a little concerned and a little conservative about how they recover the bomb, Box seems to have had little issues, but that kill might just determine that the B site is actually the ending destination for the bomb plant. And for Mar, who hasn't taken any damage or hasn't really made too much of an impact, he might now just have to save. He might not even be allowed to go for the retake. And from an economic standpoint, that's a concern for Fate. And for NEMIGA, they've done enough to at least find 4.
It's the wrong call at the end to rotate the second player over towards the A-bomb site. Denies Fate any chance at victory in the round and gives it over to NEMIGA. The round advantage now in their favour. Jo hunting with his cash reserves ever so stacked up. He would really like to remove Mar from the round and start to put NEMIGA in a good spot for once. It feels like a while since we've had something truly positive to say about the side. All the way back in that first half of Inferno was when they really felt in control at any point realistically. And now perhaps they have the opportunity to do so again.
NEMIGA could probably be considered one of the better teams playing in this entire cup in this week's event. So a lot of pressure really to see them not only being taken to 3 maps by Fate, but also potentially being knocked out of this entire event this week. It would be a massive loss for the CIS squad, who are certainly on the up in general.
Certainly on the up, and you can be on the up as well by checking out the official case partner Hellcase there. They have just so many activities available on their website. Updated case battle, the upgrader, dozens of monthly giveaways, and even more unique features. So make sure that you go and check them out. Speaking of checking out, Fate can't afford to do that in this round. They want to contest. They want to deny NEMIGA everything they possibly can. Blocker will pick up a FAMAS. Deagles and armor for the rest. They slightly preserve the economy with still the ability to bite.
Blocker. At least gets the opening kill. Lollipop was the man to trade out, and Fate went for this approach where they just tried to group up a little bit more. They had 2 in connector, and Mar was originally joined by one of his teammates up on short. And that's a nice shot back by MDS, boosted on the bench. Patrick now just has to be careful and forced into a safe angle.
Patrick would love to have something to say about this round. NEMIGA, the bomb positioned in such a way that A, looks like the target, but perhaps Lollipop's just looking to deploy another smoke before he joins his teammates on B. That's not the case. They are going to hit that A bomb site, and with underpass under Patrick's control, Nicky can realistically afford to rotate. Now that Han's down on the A site, it's a freebie for NEMIGA to walk into, but again, they're going to eat a lot of time clearing their angles.
For NEMIGA, they might at least get themselves an easy enough bomb plant. Around 5 or 30 seconds. It's still a possibility for Fate to close it out, but I don't really think they've got much of a chance with the Deagle now falling up close, so the close ranged player isn't a concern. Patrick started this round in connector, might finish the round in connector, but at least converts 1, and Jungle gets a second. This might get hairy, and AK and AWP now have to hold on to this. Lollipop tagged up certainly means NEMIGA have to now just play this after plant safe.
Lollipop repositioned to support Speed's or Patrick. Probably wasn't going to go for this originally, but now that he's found 2 kills, it's a possibility. Wildly pre-firing, no one facing him, and the prospect of losing such a valuable AK for no reason just doesn't seem to make sense in his mind. He can't aggress any further into that A site, and he can't find any exits either, but at least the rifle is brought forward for Fate. NEMIGA on 5. Money available for those CTs to be able to buy up. If NEMIGA can start winning more gun rounds consecutively, as they have been doing, it's their opportunity to further the lead.
You're right entirely. This round is one that Fate really have to win to convert and maybe keep themselves within touching distance of their opponents. And if NEMIGA find what could be a victory quickly here in this round, it could spell disaster, but that is the disaster that Fate were looking for in terms of their start. A positive one. Speed 4K down and dealt with, and MDS and his team couldn't even trade out.
Unable to find the right angles. And now left guessing. Jo still has the AWP on that T side, but mid-control firmly with the CTs at the moment. It'd have to be a split push from underpass and top mid. They know it. MDS has done his job from underpass, but his AWP has been removed from the round. Now Blocker puts a stop to him as well, and NEMIGA, they take a look at the A-bomb site. They want to find a way in. Blocker's low, but Patrick is not. The Molotov available perhaps to flush him out of the angle, but it would give Lollipop's position away, and if he can just get a kill before that time, he might be able to get more work done.
Oh, I didn't think he'd win that, but Patrick gets caught out. One more player to find hiding in this ninja off-angle. Blocker at least has the better angle. A lot more work to do, but this could be possible if he hits shots like that. 30 seconds with the bomb, he backs away, and I think towards B is certainly an option, but it means he's got to more or less run. Does he not have time?
I don't think he has enough time to make it all the way onto this B bomb site and put the bomb down. It might come incredibly down to the wire, but he's left it too late if that's his objective here by the looks of things, especially now that Nicky is on the angle ready to stop him. It's going to come down to the absolute epitome of the round, but I think it's just in time. My word, he does get the plant down. Fair play to his movement, but there's no other space for him to maneuver, and Nicky can just clean him up.
And Fate, a vital round at least one. From an economic standpoint, they can at least afford to buy up, and NEMIGA not too threatened in the economic department. Means all 5 on AKs on with the AWP for Fate. And it's not as if the AWPs have really made a dramatic impact in some of the more recent rounds. That's being used towards A as Speed 4K looks towards middle. or just avoiding all the flashes. Wadi Yorp isn't going to be finding the initial kill. Mar does at least take down Jo. 1 kill in apartments converted, but a default from NEMIGA, which has at least given them a kill back.
It's accomplished that, and it's accomplished more. The second via mid goes to MDS, only on 8 HP, but that not so much of a factor as securing the opening kill was just there. Lollipop as well, opening on to Han. NEMIGA looking to really do the economic damage here with the reset. Just Nikki and Block are available to try and deny what is looking like an A-site execute in this round, with Lollipop already deep in CT. It's a matter of time before NEMIGA take the A-site, and Fate, well, after that kill goes away, you've got to expect Nikki to be saving.
I don't know what Nikki really can do from his point of view. A massive ask. And NEMIGA have at least done enough for 6. Financially though, Fate, next round might not be ideal. He'll save the M4. Han could drop something. A force buy is possible, but whether that's a safe call for the CT side is a big 50-50. 4 players will at least keep these AKs alive. NEMIGA on to 6. Fate,
They will.
at least not too far behind.
And they will secure themselves their 6th round. And interestingly enough for NEMIGA, their T side is actually their weaker side here on Mirage. They traditionally lose more rounds on this portion of the map. So the fact that they've got 6 already, definitely a promising sign in the offset. And when you look over at the Fate side of things as well, rather, it's their T round percentage that's actually their weakest also, with just 42% of rounds won when they switch on to that T side. So realistically, from Fate, they need to do the majority of the work on Mirage on the defensive half. And for now, NEMIGA have the advantage.
7 rounds at least could be possible. NEMIGA, they could more or less secure the half with at least 2 more wins from the next 4. Fate, I feel as though, off the logic you've given us, need to just win all of these rounds now on CT to really make that second half a bit more bearable. If they're not looking too good or too confident on the T side, then realistically they've got to boost the momentum, boost the confidence now, and ensure kills can come in their favour, and also rounds. And 4 rounds, which really haven't been coming too often as of late, because they had that state of affairs where they just kept saving every round they were forced to play retake, and they've got to go for more retakes, from my point of view. Fate, they've been too concerning, they've been too scared to really approach either side, and that's where the NEMIGA have just been a bit luckier. They've not been forced to at least contest some of the afterplants. And Fate, we've seen before that they certainly go for the damage. Back in pistol. Hat-trick. He came off worse as MDS actually struck the damage to get that in their control.
Well, I think that I might actually disagree with you on the saving point here, Louis. From my perspective, at least, in the rounds that they have been saving, at least the majority of the time, it's been 3-on-5, 4-on-5 situations. And yes, you do have the opportunity to go for those, but realistically speaking, odds suggest that NEMIGA are going to win that the majority of the time with 1 or 2 players left alive. Worst case scenario, they just find you all on the way in and survive with something like 5. I do agree in that one instance, perhaps when Patrick was on the flank with the FAMAS, they should have gone for that after he found the opening kill. But the other times, I do think the saves were justified.
No, Fate, they've got a big set of work really to do. For me, they're going to have to get quite a few rounds converted and sorted. This is a Fate tech pause, so won't be too far away back in this action. But I'm still amazed that we've had to go to all 3 maps to really turn up NEMIGA. If you remember back to Inferno, it took them a while to really close that out, and that was despite what started out as a positive opening. Dust 2, as soon as NEMIGA had that opportunity, they kind of looked dead and they fell flat in that first T half. And now on a bit more of a level playing field, Mirage is certainly one they could look to pinch, but Fate could also pinch it back. They could get this shock upset tonight. And I think that would be the headline if NEMIGA can't find a victory in this series.
It would indeed be contender for upset of the week. Patrick, he finds Jo early on in this gun round, punishing with an underpass push this time. MDS still alive, but Lollipop, he's found a kill onto Nicky Mart. He refrags very well onto Box, though, who, realistically speaking, could have found his teammate on that B short angle. MBS now gives his position away, trying to get too aggressive on the kill. It's a very confusing round for NEMIGA. I'm certain that Fate have no idea where they're planning on attacking, but it looks like NEMIGA have no idea either.
Yeah, this was a complex approach on both sides. Mar, with that perfect kill, certainly means that it won't be a split towards the B site. Fate have more or less lost the site. The bomb, Lucky, was in apartments and isn't going to be contested, as hopefully it gets planted on the B site. At least NEMIGA hope it gets planted. Mar can now start to sandwich the players as the bomb gets planted. 2 on 3. And in terms of utility, 1 flash, 1 smoke, and 1 grenade is all that remains.
Well, NEMIGA, they still have smokes and Molotovs to work with. 1 of each to put down, but they've got to be deployed before you die is the way that the grenades work in this game, but you can't give your position away either. Lollipop does excellent to find the first, but with MDS going down without dealing a point of damage, he's left his teammate in such a rough spot that he can't clutch it out. Han finds the AWP kill, finds Fate their 5th. NEMIGA's still going to buy up in the next, but Fate have done well to keep the skyline so tight. And what happened there, Fate? They didn't have the kits, they couldn't get the defuse.
No, I was just thinking that the amount of times that Fate have been buying out weapons, but they've just been missing that kit, it was a recurring theme which I kept mentioning, at least in the early rounds, and all of a sudden that's come back to bite them. The defuse kit is obviously not vital, but as a CT, I always look to buy it, and they are buying out some more kits in this round. It's a massive concern. It should have been Fate's. NEMIGA's so lucky, and you can't help but feel that if NEMIGA start to pick up more rounds now, then that's going to be a key concern point. And for now, Patrick up close has to be prepared as Speed gets that initial opening for NEMIGA.
Patrick can only get 1 of the ramp players on the way in as well now. The AWP of Nicky locked in that B bomb site. It's all going to be on Blocker realistically to defend this A execute. Mar Molotov'd off from his angle. Supporting AWP is going to arrive eventually to cover Blocker, but Blocker knows that he's in danger from the lower ground. Mark, he's reaggressed. He nearly finds MDS, who punishes instead, and Speed. 180s for Nicky. Blocker and the AWP both found in the round. And NEMIGA, after a round they should have lost due to that clutch not coming through. Instead, they find that and the one after and do some damage to that Fate economy.
Fate's economy is more or less gone, and they've got this rough scenario where they force up now, and if they lose, their money for the next few rounds might just be disappearing. So NEMIGA, they might have done enough to get a pretty healthy lead, depending on how this next round plays out. Some aggression wanted by Blocker. He is alone, but the flash hits him, and Patrick at least can come off better, for the one-on-one trade comes off in NEMIGA's favour. Box gets 1 more, and despite both being tagged down very low on HP, the 2 NEMIGA players and the NEMIGA squad in general come off at an advantage. Nicky might be key, and really Hearn and Fate have to get the next kill.
Absolutely have to, if they want to recover. And the man who has to do it is Han, alone towards the B bomb site. They're slowly pushing for T-spawn info, but NEMIGA have left someone behind to cover the flank, so realistically, it doesn't look like Nicky's going to be able to be too effective from there. Now, meanwhile, Mar, he could have something serious to say about this round. Pushing from underpass, being watched by Box at the moment. It comes down to timing. There's the punishment on the underpass kill. That caused the push to come into B, because NEMIGA, you'd expect them to go A after finding the lurker through underpass. Instead, they switch it up. They take it to B. Fate rotate away and have to save what they have in the next.
Jayo was actually preparing to go towards A. That kill was something, because if Mar gets something back, NEMIGA are forced more or less to rotate back towards A. That individual effort meant NEMIGA have done enough to find 9. And you look at that Fate economy heading into the last round, or one of the closing rounds of the half, and, well, they can save an M4 and a FAMAS. I think collectively, though, they eco, and they make sure going into what's going to be the last round of the half afterwards, they get that full buy-in. NEMIGA, depending on how Fate play it, they shockingly could get an 11-4 halftime lead.
That would be beautiful on Mirage. We knew they were supposed to have the advantage on this map, and now they're showing us why on their T side. Theoretically, they should just get stronger switching over to the CT side as well, which is a certainly daunting prospect to look at if you are on this Fate side. They've lost so many in a row that the loss bonus is built up extensively. They're just going to continue to buy from Fate. It looks like just the light investment, though, in this round to make sure that they have the full buy regardless in the last of the half.
It's not perfect for them, so that's why they've just upgraded some SMGs into it. Utility minimum and box. And inside, look quickly towards mid for what should be an opening kill in their favour. They lose Nicky up towards short, looking the wrong way. Actually forced into an awkward angle. Mar now becomes alone in terms of the CTB defense. And a peek, wow, that's strong from MDS. NEMIGA fight, and they get 2 kills, which might open up either A or the B side.
Aggression from Blocker anticipated by Lollipop leaves Patrick very isolated here towards Tetris, and he's found then in kind. Mars rifle, the only gun available now for Fate in the round. Guaranteed 10 for NEMIGA. Hunting for 11th in the last round is what they will be doing. Mark, he's just going to sit up in these apartments. No reason for him to move. And Fate, they're in serious trouble now if they want to stay in this Malta Vibes Cup.
They've got the pressure on them seriously going forward. Now, this is meant to be one of their weaker maps from Fate's point of view. 9 wins, 10 losses. I mean, it's not an ideal playing field, but they should have a lot of experience to really push on and try and fight and find their way back into this. And I didn't think it would actually happen, but Fate, they seriously might go down 4-11 at halftime in this deciding map, in this deciding elimination match. And they've done so much hard work. They kept Inferno so close. They even brought Dust to their map pick in their favour, that all of a sudden their hopes and their tournament survival, it's so low. A thread of hope. And unless this gun round gets converted, NEMIGA, they might be on towards 11.
They might just be the Double Orps, the only prospect that can put a stop to the relentless advance of this T side. They look for mid control early on this time, and the utility forces Fate away from the angle. There's 4 players stacked in this A site, though. So if they wanted to put a 5th on the board, they have the perfect opportunity to do so. Blocker, spoilt for choice with his targets, goes down in the mid angle, leaving just 3 to defend the A site.
Oh, Patrick had to get that kill back, and he even looks for the player in Palace, but it's Lollipop who actually is a winner. And it would be awkward to really commit any further towards the site, because his team were smoked off from Connector. MDS securing that kill in jungle effectively means that NEMIGA can more or less come and compromise what is left of this A defense. Both players are still here. Hearn the Orpa at least strikes back 1, and you need to look behind you, mate. Mar gets 1. It's all of a sudden down on Jayo on this Orp.
Oh, and Mar turns around at the right time, finds the Orpa on the flank and denies the 11-4 scoreline. Either way, though, from NEMIGA, it's a display of sheer brilliance on the T side. Very close at the start. 4-4 at one point before NEMIGA eventually pull away. 3-3, it looks like, was the actual scoreline there. Either way, still tied up in the early instance. NEMIGA with the firm advantage now as they switch onto that CT side. Fate relying on the pistol to springboard their comeback.
And this is a massive round for Fate in this event. I had to go at you for making the pun, but now I've just said it. Patrick might go up against Box in these initial stages. Box going aggressive and, in fact, just repositions to focus on this headshot angle from Connector. But as soon as the angle's given up, there might have been a loss. But combined with Jo, they find the kills in mid. They played this so well. The flash even more useful, but now Patrick will stay alive, and damage in his direction means 1 HP. Jo now has to fall back.
He does indeed, NEMIGA. This pistol round, absolutely beautiful. MDS on the aggressive play in the B apartments as well could give way to a serious flank for these Fate players at the moment. They're going to try and continue to push B, but with all the information given away and the rotations well and truly en route, NEMIGA have all but secured this pistol. Fate, they want to back out, but Han spotted out by Box. He looks for the second. Patrick eventually converts, but now it's fortified with the Glock.
A lot of work to do now with an upgraded USP. 1 HP, Jo hasn't been spotted out yet, but Patrick's more or less trapped too, and I thought for a second Lollipop was going to be watching top mid, so in fact he falls back towards the A side. Mid more or less open, but with 30 seconds, if you're Patrick at this point, you've got to make a solid call and a solid idea to maybe keep this in your side's favour. They'll be looking for 6. A win here might at least bring their economy in line to look towards a 10-10 tied up score. 10 seconds. The commitment, I don't know if it's going to work. There's one player towards CT. Lollipop looks for the damage, and no bomb plant even comes in. And for NEMIGA, that's 11. 5 for winning this entire series.
15 kills for MDS and Lollipop each, leading the way for that NEMIGA side. Lollipop seemingly always a name at the top of the NEMIGA scoreboard, and while he may have been a little bit quieter on Inferno, he started to wake up in the latter parts of the series and is really now looking on fire on Mirage. Fate, they're going to aggressively push into this A bomb side at one point. NEMIGA, with the early mid positioning, might have been caught off guard, but as players continue to rotate in, they have better and better chances at taking this.
Yeah, for speed, 4K up close towards Palace, now hiding under. He might be in a perfect angle combined with Lollipop to really stop what could be Waterfall out of Palace, but Fate don't even want to consider that as an option. They reposition, look back towards mid. A smoke. Sent in towards Connector. Not perfect, but at least does the job somewhat. A minute to go. Fate more or less seem lost. Stuck at the top of mid. It's going to be so tough for them now to push forward and make the right call. And NEMIGA are more or less in a crossfire position.
They've set it up beautifully. The dominoes ready. Which one will tip first? Which will fall? It's a last-minute switch of sights towards B, and Blockers found Jo in the early instance. MDS now is in trouble. Aggressed from both angles. Blocker found, though, perhaps the recovery from NEMIGA. They look to remove these Ts in the site, but it's Patrick who finds the next kill. Box to bring the advantage back in NEMIGA's favor, but there's a flank on the way from Nicky, his P250. It's so dangerous, but can it find 3? That's the question, because that is what's needed. No is the answer. NEMIGA pick up 12, deny Fate's force, and look for 13 in the next.
That was a more or less a 2-on-4. Certainly against NEMIGA, just trying to hold off the site, but Fate, they can't do anything.
They can't do anything at all. And now, check out those loot bet odds. They certainly reflect NEMIGA's dominance so far. I thought perhaps they should have been a bit more equalized at the start of the map, but now loot bet certainly proving me wrong there. They've made the right call, and NEMIGA, they stay in charge. Light pistol buy from Fate, tentatively looking to progress down mid, but JO's SMG could just rip those players apart.
Well, the M4 in fact also wants to do something. Jo got one towards mid, but an awkward one for the M4 leaves Han coming off better for one, but NEMIGA's advantage kept in terms of the player numbers, and now just a 4-on-1. And a lot more work for this P250 left to really do. I'd love to say this is winnable, but NEMIGA have the bomb in their advantage towards top middle. 40 HP, no armor. And 13 kills, which could become 14. And M4 says no to that one.
The denial. Han not allowed any more than he's looked for as of yet. He's stuck on the unlucky number in terms of kills. And NEMIGA, they're on the unlucky number in terms of rounds, but they don't feel unlucky. And it's really wild to think, with this dominant performance here from them on Mirage, that there was really just 1 round's difference in it in Inferno. This series could have been Fate for the taking, but because of that real survival effort on Inferno, it's arrived at Mirage, where NEMIGA looks strong once again.
Well, the hunt for 14 rounds is now here. Full gun round for Fates. The first time they've had really a chance to now try and cement something in this second half. And for them, they've got a lot more work to do if they want to maybe consider themselves for maybe a playoff spot. Box against Blocker below him. The T player waits and the smoke fades away. Box hasn't even spotted. Neither player actually spotting each other. It's going to be so awkward. Through the smoke, Blocker actually fell away. 1 minute to go. 2 players about to push, and for Box, really, this could be huge, but Hearn at least strikes blood first.
Has the advantage of the smoke on his side and gets first blood in the round. Lollipop gets second, though. Trades out for the ramp element of this A push. And that could call Fate to readjust things. Speed finding Ma now, hemming in these T players towards Connector. It's the only part of the map under their control, and Lollipop looking to change that fact. He finds the second as well. Speed takes down Han, and finally NEMIGA are 2 rounds away from ending the series. It's been a long one, but they look on the precipice of victory.
Faye, I'd love to say there's a chance at this point, but you think and you feel like at this point they've had their chances and they're going to give it at least one last go. Or it could be the first of many chances of now trying to push on for a comeback. 14-5 down. They've got the AKs to play with. They've got Blocker alone towards the A side, really looking to cause an impact. And if they are looking for an A split, realistically this mid control's got to be huge. Box does damage, but he has to be away from underpass because that was where a threat could have been. For now, NEMIGA can at least fall back and play the safe game.
That's what they'll be looking to do. That point at stake in this round. They have the bonus still with these MP9s. Box swapped onto the AWP at just 36 HP, and all of Fate want to explode out of the A ramp. Lollipop positioned aggressively. A flashbang could ruin his life, but instead it's perfect. He finds both the opening rushers, and Ma, spraying through the smoke, isn't able to get anything else done. Nikki takes him down in the end. That leaves them in the 3-on-3. B rotations arrive, but Speed, he might need to find one here just to buy enough time. He finds the planter. That could be good enough.
Well, Patrick and Nikki now have a chance maybe to close this out. Actually, the AWP gets taken out, and the AWP wins it. MDS, start of the P250, ends on the big scoped weapon. NEMIGA, what a performance they do to put themselves onto series point and to maybe knock Fate out of this one. It's been a tough ask, but Lollipop, you can't help but feel he tried his best, and more or less without him, NEMIGA wouldn't be able to say that they are now about to make it to a decider matchup.
Tries to push that smoke to avoid the nade, but just gets body blocked in the end. And while it's a close round, it's a heroic recovery from MDS, who isn't even traditionally the AWPer for this NEMIGA side. The AKs are out for Fate, but all that's left utility-wise is a flash and a Molotov. They just have to sit out mid and rely on numbers. Jo does not want to be punished for over-aggression. He'll still find the opening kill. Blocker desperate for the reply onto him, but he'll be punished instead. Speed's second AWP chimes in now as well. 2 players for Fate. Make it 1 on Han to try and recover. It's not possible. NEMIGA, they pick up the series with map